Why? Great Saint Starkiller shouted in fury. Great Saint Starkiller, die. Xiuxiu somersaulted, flying high into the air. Golden light and green wind interlocked, like a flying magpie. In the blink of an eye, the double saber's cold light slashed directly towards Great Saint Starkiller's head. Flying Star Magpie Dance. The Great Saint Starkiller, who had already lost all of his drive, used his immemorial flying swords to barely defend. The heavenly cycle-changing holy swords merely were broken by the double sabers in an instant. Just when the Flying Star Magpie Dance was about to take Great Saint Starkiller's head, a shadow suddenly flit by, and a black light that was like a sword intercepted the double sabers. Xiuxiu withdrew in shock. The meddler was none other than Great Blade Guanyin. Because the current Guanyin had rescinded her contract, the Devil Star corrosion was even more ferocious. Her whole body was covered in black markings, full of an unimaginable eeriness. Guan Sheng. Inger. Great Saint Starkiller showed pleasant surprise, for he had thought Guanyin had a change of heart. How could he have anticipated that Guanyin would not even look at him? The black chi she scattered carried a sort of repulsive chill. Great Saint Starkiller drew his hand back. This general asks that you leave this place at once. This is this general's final obligation. Guanyin said indifferently. Inger. Great Saint Starkiller's throat was hoarse, his heart suffering unbearably. At this time, he seemed to have awoken from his insanity, but to regret now was already too late. Looking at Guanying's cold and detached eyes, he knew, the girl whose extraordinary might and fierce might was imprinted in him for his whole life was already gone. Guilt, remorse, pain, countless negative emotions made tears splash across Great Saint Starkiller's face, an exceptionally sorry figure. Even Xiuxiu was shocked to see this. Was this still that renowned and tyrannical #1 star master of the Black Turtle territory, Great Saint Starkiller? A scourge like Great Saint Starkiller must die. Xiuxiu sneered. The wind stirred, and she tossed the azure sea's green duckweed, which became a green rainbow that directly twisted for Great Saint Starkiller. Xiuxiu completely lacked a favorable impression of Great Saint Starkiller. Any way it was put, she could not separate his involvement in Wang Ying's death. Do you wish to be buried here alongside this general? Guan Ying's voice was cold enough to emit chills. Great Saint Starkiller hesitated a moment. He grit his teeth, sorrowfully cursed, and in the end, used the outlaw Jade pendant. The azure sea's green duckweed struck nothing. Guanying, what use is an unjust, heartless, meek coward like you? Xiuxiu repressed her anger. Guanying glanced at her. Suddenly, her figure swayed. Xiuxiu's eyes were dazzled. Guansheng was already in front of her. The 5 Devil Star purple brilliant moon slashing blade descended, and Xiuxiu became fearful. Flying swords blocked. Star generals fell into a weakened state after rescinding their contracts, but the Devil Star Guansheng nevertheless was peerless. She drummed up all of her strength, and the Devil Star Guansheng was exceptionally fierce. Xiuxiu was caught unprepared, and her chest suffered a fierce punch. The great blade beat back the azure sea's green duckweed, and immediately afterwards, the tip was already pressed against Xiuxiu's throat. The color drained from sword star Tai Sui who stands his ground. Let go of elder sister. Xiuxiu raised the Dragon King dagger. Guanying was completely without killing intent. Although she appeared enshrouded in a terrible qi, extremely dreadful, Xiuxiu even making preparations for a starfall, Guanying only said calmly, "This general has offended you and asks that the Wan sisters take their leave first." Xiuxiu's expression slightly changed, and she immediately heard Guanying's implication. She shot a complex glance at Xiuxiu. Is this man worth your protection? Guansheng, could it be you betrayed your master only to sign a contract with him? Please leave. This general is unable to contain the Devil Star. Guansheng panted, her tone rough, somewhat in pain. This general naturally will reach a settlement with him. When Xiuxiu heard, she did not dare delay. If Guanxing truly lost control, then this certainly would not be worthwhile. Guan Jiner coldly said, Guansheng, to be unable to kill you is the hatred of my lifetime. You let me off this time, but next time I see you, I still will take your life in honor of Ping'er. This general will give the sisters an explanation. Guaning said. Guan Jiner looked at Guan Meier. In the end, she left behind a hateful glance and used her own jade pendant to escape. Very quickly, the Nine Hells Island was left only with Su Xing's group. Su Xing naturally knew that Guan Ying's actions were because she worried that he who was already without any strength left would suffer the prying of the two wands. This was considered the gratitude Guaning had for Su Xing accompanying her to the Nine Hells. Can your devil star still be removed? Su Xing asked her. The two little Lolas Gongsun Huang and Bai Yutang supported him from the left and right so that he would not fall onto the ground. Guaning shook her head. Su Xing sighed. The devil star had already sunk into her quintessence. If she was an ordinary star general, she long would have already lost control and sentience, and it was only a general of such absolute warrior spirit like Guan Ying's that could maintain the last bit of her clarity. However, there was still a limit in the end. Guaning becoming the devil star was only a matter of time. Hun Yangzi tightly gripped the double sabers, with hate and unreconciliation in her eyes. Although Guan Ying's actions made Hun Yangzi's impressions change, the hatred she kept from the sister Wang Ying she was to share her life and death with nevertheless did not relax at all. Guaning fell onto the ground. The Guanhan red hair also returned at this time. The Guanhan red hair did not cower at all at its mistress' terrifying aura. On the contrary, it affectionately rubbed against her. Guaning stroked the Guanhan red hair's long mane. Her forehead flickered with a star crest, reflecting with the horse. It was unknown what she said, but the Guanhan red hair lowered its head and whined. Hu Sanyang, let us now settle life and death. Guaning put away the great blade and stood before her. Having already known this, Hun Yangzi apathetically drew her sabers. You will not use the great blade? Hun Yangzi's tone was ice-cold. No need. This general already cannot hold that great blade. Guaning said calmly. Bright Star 10 feet of blue nodded, not saying anything. Dear husband, would you allow Nyangzi to settle this alone? Hun Yangzi turned her head, her tone tender. Su Xing glanced at Guaning, only feeling that things were already too far gone. I will have little Huang help you when needed. Gongsun Huang slightly nodded. When Hun Yangzi knew that Su Xing cared for her like this, she smiled. She turned her head back to face Guaning, still with brimming a harsh killing intent. Guaning, Hun Yangzi suddenly yelled. Her figure swayed, and then she suddenly vanished. A golden bright and dazzling saber light hooked around like the wind. Guan Ying's fist blocked it. The devil star flowed, sharp as a divine weapon. With the clanging of metal, the pair successively clashed. With intense killing intent that seemed substantive, Hun Yangzi's pupils flickered with a radiant light. She half-spun, light smoke danced steps. In Guan Ying's field of vision, there was only a beautiful afterimage left. Soundlessly, a powerful to extreme force already drew near her. Her eyes flickered with a cold light. Guan Ying's arms suddenly rose to protect her front, and without even dodging, the black aura around her body automatically flowed in a frenzy, defending her front. Bang! The power connected, hate transmission. In an instant, the ice-cold, immense hatred on the double saber's edges made a temporary exchange with Guan Ying's arms. The saber light suddenly flashed, and a rupturing sound rose. The cold tips were like vipers slithering across her body, and the strength that her body had accumulated was gone without a trace. Guaning staggered backwards, her entire person already retreating several paces. In her surroundings, the surging black aura seemed to have been cut to pieces. Her figure was greatly unsteady. Guaning stood with great difficulty, her firm expression already showed weakness. Those eyes flickered endlessly. With a muted grunt, a clear line of blood quickly flowed from the corner of her mouth. Not bad. Guaning smiled. Her eyes began to stray. Her consciousness was already about to be devoured by the Devil Star. Her weakened self and refrain from using the 5-star Great Blade meant she virtually had no chance facing the 5-star Golden Wind Morning Dew of Bright Star Hunyangzi. Bring out all of your power. Hunyangzi coldly shouted, this Nyangzi does not need your pity. Guan Ying's hands lowered. The purple brilliant moon-slashing blade of heavily black qi was already in her hands. This general will bring the most powerful martial force. Just what this Nyangzi wants. Hunyangzi kept astride her, her slow dance steps like a serpent. She suddenly disappeared from Guan Ying's eyes. A dazzling golden light that was like a winter sun splendidly glowed, its radiance blossoming. Bang! The double sabers and great blade crisscrossed, bursting forth with powerful sparks. An intense explosion sound. Hunyangzi retreated, the 5-star Golden Wind and Morning Dew showing difficulty matching the Devil Star. Little sister, come receive the lifetime of battle experience of this general. In the instant Guaning attacked, the black qi storm devastating the island instantly vanished without a trace. Not only this, all of the drifting fragments and dust were simultaneously pressed onto the ground by a sort of incorporeal force. The entire space suddenly returned to clarity. Hunyangzi was astonished. She looked at the blade's edge that was against her stomach, evading at the last moment with light smoke dance steps. While her body was still in midair, Hunyangzi hovered, and with a shout, she spat out, Flying Star Magpie Dance. The double sabers became a bird, its wings a combined attack. Humph. The response to Hunyangzi was a weak laugh. Guaning raised her blade. The black blade light immediately changed shape on the ground into something resembling a catch that pounced towards Hunyangzi. Endless black qi rolled in all directions, filling ruthlessly. Hunyangzi's thinking was also matchlessly swift. Although those black blade lights were frightening, it was not at all invulnerable. The bright star's double sabers circled, rolling a golden wind and a rain of dew that immediately twisted. Then it broke. More than a dozen wounds deep enough to show bone appeared on her body. Hunyangzi flew quick as a butterfly flitting through flowers. She directly arrived at Guan Ying's flank, wielding a blade that contained ample anger. Not enough. Guaning was like an instructor, using a chiding tone. Her left fist struck Hunyangzi. Hunyangzi vomited blood and took 100 steps back. A matchless martial general ought to be even faster than her opponent. Guaning practically did not pause. Unrivaled's imposing aura suddenly exploded, and taking a step forward, she was faster. The great blade spun, striking Hunyangzi with the back of the blade. As expected of the chief of the 5 tigers, even when she was so weak, her devil transformation state still was bold and powerful. Wife. Xiuxiu already began to worry. Hunyangzi once again clashed with Guaning. The double sabers danced, creating a brilliant radiance. Blade qi flowed in all directions, wrapping up Guaning, yet Guaning was also domineering and fierce. Every step she took was not as splendid as Bright Star Husanyang's, yet they were invincible as boulders. The heavy great blade appeared quicker than the double sabers. Many times, Hunyangzi was surrounded by peril. Gradually, Xiuxiu noticed that in Hunyangzi and Guan Ying's matchless battle to the death, Guaning did not have that sort of feeling of, you die, I live. On the contrary, she seemed to be imparting her own martial arts, allowing Hunyangzi to personally receive them. Her words were full of teachings that made Hunyangzi resentful. Guan Ying's expression was increasingly distracted, and her attacks were increasingly sluggish. The powerful Devil Star already made the brave star lose her edge. She wants to die. Xiuxiu suddenly perceived. And at this moment, Hunyangzi just happened to use the These Feelings Are Endless lasso's yellow technique, red string. The lasso wrapped around Guan Ying's wrist that held the great blade, making the brave star wide open, yet Guaning on the contrary smiled at this moment. The great blade in her hand disappeared. Raising her head, she carried the brave star's last matchless, welcoming the golden wind and morning dew double saber's final twist. Liked it? Her hatred stopped, and the double sabers froze. You! Seeing that the target of her revenge that she sought after day and night was in front of her, Xiuxiu contrarily could not finish it. This was not right at all. Revenge should not be like this. This was completely different from what she had imagined. This general cannot last much longer. Finish it. But it is regretful that this general is helpless for the devil stars formed from the sisters. Guaning heavily panted. Her eyes were increasingly hazy, already practically about to lose focus, beginning to empty. Xiuxiu knew that Guan Ying's bottom line was already this. In the event she was controlled by the devil star, Guaning would only become a killing machine. Rather than this, Guaning would rather die under the blade of a sister, to recompense her hatred. If you contract, can you be saved? Xiuxiu's tone wavered. Guaning glanced at Xiuxiu. In the end, she smiled, he perhaps truly can change the star duels, the fate of our sisters, but he is already incapable of changing this general's fate. Elder sister, this Xiuxiu shall see you once more at Maiden Mountain. Understanding Guan Ying's resolve, Xiuxiu took a deep breath. The hatred in her heart vanished like smoke into thin air. She carefully raised her double sabers in deference and the highest etiquette to the ranked fifth chief of the five tigers, brave star great blade Guansheng. Her hands were raised high. Strength gathered like lotuses, and Xiuxiu's sabers were about to swing down. Guaning closed her eyes and sighed so softly that none could hear. She wondered if she sighed for being always unable to change the brave star's tragic fate, or if she was regretting that she did not meet Xiuxiu before Great Saint Starkiller. Just when the double sabers were about to fall, at this moment, a ray of resplendent Buddhist light penetrated the black chi lingering around the nine hells. The golden light fell from the heavens, immediately making Xiuxiu stop midway. Xiuxiu and the rest raised their heads. Finally, a mighty, domineering presence, a woman who was like a god of war descended from the heavens. Her whole body twinkled with golden light, and every detail of her body flowed with power. Thousand Buddha Star Chao Gai. Chao Gai, you finally came. Xiuxiu sighed. Chao Gai's brow furrowed. Why did it sound as if she had come to put out the fire? Pursing her lips, Chao Gai swept wordlessly across Xiuxiu and Bai Yutang. Chao Gai. Xiuxiu and the others were shocked. Brave star great blade Guaning has been trapped by the devil star, and the divine weapon in her hand has been cast with the souls of Maiden Mountain sisters. This one cannot abide. There is need to dispel the devil star and allow the souls of the star generals to return to Maiden Mountain. This one now asks you, Xiuxiu, are you willing to turn Guaning over to this one to handle? Of course, if you hand her over to this one, the brave star's starfall power and 5-star great blade are not obtainable to you. Chao Gai spoke, every word full of an unending Buddhist aura, sounding pleasant and unable to be refused. Xiuxiu shook his head, this thing is completely for Xiuxiu to determine. Xiuxiu did not expect that Xiuxiu would leave this decision to her. She hesitated for a moment, and then she immediately nodded her head. Compared to killing Guaning, Xiuxiu cared more about being able to save her sisters. Chao Gai was not surprised. If it was any other star master, they probably would not give up on the chief of the 5 tigers' crimson star power and the 5-star great blade, even if they were to die. However, as for Xiuxiu, she knew this man completely could not be assessed with the 3 words descended star cultivator. Brave star Guaning, you are transforming into the devil star. Are you willing to withdraw from the star duels and enter this one's pagoda for refinement? Chao Gai asked her. So long as the other little sisters can be saved, this general can sacrifice anything. Guaning used the last of her strength to say this. This is even better. Chao Gai waved her hand. The heaven-earth dark yellow 1,000 pagoda flew out. The 9-story pagoda released 9 rays of light, displaying all sorts of gods and Buddhas, the chanting of sutras and Brahmanistic verse. She revealed the pure land of bliss. Compared to the endless light of the 5 dragons' lantern, this heaven-earth dark yellow 1,000 pagoda's Buddhist light was even more awe-inspiring. Guaning was sucked in by the thousand pagodas Buddhist light. The black chi over her whole body suddenly turned menacing, brandishing claws and fangs, extremely painful. Chao Gai merely scoffed, formed a hand seal, and the Buddhist light glowed brighter, enveloping the devil star. Hun Yangzi watched dumbstruck at Chao Gai's powers. Although she had heard of thousand Buddha star Chao Gai's might, she never thought that she was this powerful, suppressing the terrible devil star with just one move. Su Xing was just able to see God. Just at this moment, Gong Sun Huang suddenly leaned, pointing her pine-brand ancient sword at the sky. A formless forbid dance opened. Hundreds of flying swords of linked water and fire were completely blocked. The General of Sacred Water and the General of Holy Fire, the Sikong sisters truly can pick their timing. Su Xing turned around, smiling in exhaustion. Sikong Chuha and Sikong Dangnyo. Ever since Sikong Chuha and Sikong Dangnyo were defeated by Su Xing, they always thought of finding an opportunity to approach the Nine Dragons Palace. Afterwards, they heard that Shi Jingluan already had several star generals before they dismissed the idea. If they actually went, their foe probably would have already been taken. Afterwards, Sikong Chuha decided to tail Su Xing and see just what he was up to. 3 star generals and 1 star master, any cultivator would have felt this was fishy. Afterwards, they lost track of Su Xing, but that golden light that illuminated the entire 9 hells naturally drew them over. By the time the baleful aura of the 9 hells completely vanished, only then did the Sikong sisters arrive. Not surprisingly, that star master indeed had gone through a battle, unexpectedly without a bit of strength left. The most irascible little sister, Sikong Dangnyo, naturally did not want to miss this opportunity. A star master without star energy would be unable to replenish the lost star energy of his star general. However, Sikong Dangnyo's sneak attack was interfered by Gong Sun Huang before it could start. Killing you while you're sick, ever hear of that? Sikong Dangnyo said, unperturbed. Her general of holy fire Wei Ronqin gripped the phoenix reincarnation saber and attacked. However, before she attacked, suddenly, the tranquil endless pool's seawater surged with a wave. A water spout shot into the sky. The Sikong sisters were startled. Before the General of Sacred Water and the General of Holy Fire could understand what was happening, a fire dragon rushed out of the ocean. With water on one side, and fire on the other, they pressed towards one another. Boatman Zhang Heng, white stripe in the waves Zhang Shun. Sikong Chuha said in bewilderment. A completely red burning whale breached the ocean's surface along with a pale white python. The 2 women on the beasts had a saber that released flame and a ring that conjured white waves. They very easily recognized these 2 star generals. Hey, we sisters found this one first, do you want to interfere? General of Holy Fire Wei Ronqin said in annoyance. And so what? Zhang Feiyu chuckled, General of Holy Fire, Feiyu, actually want to see just how powerful your holy fire is. Xiuxiu pointed, and flying swords flew up. Sikong Chuha broke them down. She tenderly said, would it not be better for us to unite to kill this star master first? He has Gong Sun Huang, and we must not be careless. The bright girl attempted to remind the newcomers that now was not the time to argue amongst themselves. Even if they were to squabble, that would have to wait until the other side's star fell first. For them to first be ruined while they were still in top condition actually would give the others an edge. Sikong Chuha planned well, but how could she have known the relationship between Su Xing and the Zhang sisters? Zhang Feiyu laughed aloud, that's my little sister's husband. Why would I want to kill him? All rivers reach seas. White stripe in the waves Zhang Yuqi activated the white water mirror heart. The waves were sucked and formed into a powerful vortex. A gale swelled. The Sikong sisters and their star generals each wobbled incessantly. Careful. Shan Menger gripped her spear, raising a wall of mist. Wei Ronqin also held her phoenix saber aloft. A clump of phoenix flames coiled around her body, protecting her like an impenetrable defense. The General of Sacred Water and General of Holy Fire were top-notch magic star generals, particularly in their control of water and fire that was brought to the point of perfection. But this terrain was maritime, which was undoubtedly an even greater advantage to a water general like the White Stripe in the waves. The sea waters were stirred, turning into an unstoppable weapon. Gong Sun Huang also gripped her pine-brand ancient sword like a tiger eyeing its prey. The girls looked at each other. From the looks in their eye, their disbelief was obvious. What was this situation? Why would the Zhang sisters help a star master? This was too baffling. Could it be they planned to repel them, then become fishermen that claimed the snipe and clam? The thought flashed through their minds. The Sikong sisters naturally knew further fighting would not have any good results. Sikong Dongyo was furious. Elder sister, Sikong Chuha inwardly blamed these star generals for being very impulsive. The girl delicately glanced at her younger sister. Sikong Dongyo understood tacitly. The two girls formed a hand seal. A sword appeared over each of their heads. One was white and one was red, one was open and the other was closed. One glittered with indeterminate white light, flicking out swordlight like a snowy mountain snake flicking out its tongue. It shimmered endlessly, and at its longest, the light unexpectedly reached 3 zhang. The red sword was similar, its whole body flame-like, limpid and transparent. One of the swords was shaped like a dragon, and the other had a white snake coiled on it. The cold chi was dense, and there was also vermilion seals on the hilts, every sort of script for suppressing demons. The moment they emerged, they showed unordinary might. Yin-yang twin swords. Su Xing recognized these two swords were astonishingly prehistoric spirit treasures from just a glance. This treasure was yin and yang in one body, like the intertwined branch swords, only able to display its use with two people. The yin-yang twin swords were number 11 on the spirit ceiling list, however, the twin swords merged together was not so simple as 1 plus 1. Furthermore, seeing the Sikong sisters unexpectedly wanted the yin-yang twin swords to handle the encirclement of the Zhang sisters, Su Xing was somewhat impressed that the enemy's thoughts were honestly so vicious. Sikong Chuha was definitely an intelligent girl. Quiet and calm on the outside, fine as hair on the inside, she understood the general situation, knew the basics. She realized that Su Xing could possibly be the strong foe of the star duels, so she knew she could not show mercy. Now that Su Xing's magic energy was completely drained, without even the strength to use the purple star jade pendant, he was practically like a sitting duck. How could Sikong Chuha pass up such a good opportunity? The yin-yang twin swords shot out a white and red sword chi. The sound of thunder and splendid light twisted in the sky. Sparks swirled in the sky, just like fireworks, drawing a dragon and a python to dodge the pincer attack. Gong Sun Huang released star magic, yet it was easily shattered by the twin swords. Look out! Xiuxiu and the others shouted. Bright Star Hunyangzi blocked in front of Su Xing, tightly gripping her double sabers to meet it. Her expression did not waver at all. This time, allow Nyangzi to protect dear husband. Hunyangzi's voice was like jewels falling onto a plate, crisp and pleasant to listen to. Thinking of stopping our prehistoric spirit treasure? Sikong Dongyo laughed. The sisters had perfect tacit coordination. This treasure's psychic communication was enough to leave star generals feeling inferior. The two girls struck hand seals. The yin-yang twin swords crisscrossed and fell. Hunyangzi grunted. Her hands rose, and the double sabers fell on nothing. Golden wind and morning dew slashed out two crescents, of magnificent light that struck down the yin-yang twin swords. The light did not stop, flashing by. Before the Sikong party could see clearly, they sensed that radiance breaking towards them. Not only did it destroy the yin-yang twin swords, the water and fire generals were struck into vomiting blood. How is this possible? Sikong Chuha was startled. Looking to Hunyangzi again at this time, she was even more stunning. The bright star's whole body was enshrouded in the radiance of a faint golden light and clear green light. This made the girl appear incomparably illusory, as if her beauty was not of this world. This is, Xiuxiu felt his whole body well up with limitless warmth. The golden and green lights similarly circulated over her body. As the contractor of the bright star, Xiuxiu's mind suddenly understood. Heaven Earth Dark Yellow skill. Everyone was shocked. When autumn's golden wind embraces jade dew. When autumn's golden wind embraces jade dew, the golden and green lights flowed as a pair, lingering about Hunyanzi, making bright star 10 feet of blue appear extremely illusory. Hunyanzi only slashed the air with her double sabers. The golden and green saber chi twisted over, once again repelling the yin-yang twin swords. Surprisingly, it is the Heaven Earth Dark Yellow skill. Xiuxiu opened her little mouth. She honestly was unable to believe such a legendary Star Maiden and Star Master was merely second only to the Heaven rank supermoves. Take this. Xiu used her illusion reality powers. Zhang Yuqi and Zhang Feiyu also followed up, one wielding fierce flames and the other's white water mirror heart blossomed with bottomless vortices. The water and fire generals also used everything they could to block. Time flows like water. Shan Menge wielded the flying shower falling star spear. An extremely nimble water spearlight slithered in the air like a living snake, its speed very quick, dazzling. But before this killing snare could cover them, it was cut apart by golden wind and jade dew. Hunyanzi calmly guarded in front of Xiuxiu, wielding her blades with calm and ease. Illusory saber chi flashed by, suddenly unstoppable, and the ice and fire sisters could only activate magic weapons to barely resist. Seeing the situation was increasingly deteriorating, Xiuxiu could only inwardly curse that these Zhang sisters were somewhat unclear about the circumstances. To not kill that feeble Star Master was enough, but to still unexpectedly allow the enemy Star General to comprehend the Heaven Earth Dark Yellow skill, Xiuxiu was very depressed. Little sister, we are leaving. Xiuxiu snorted in feigned anger, not daring to tarry. The General of Sacred Water and the General of Holy Water did not continue fighting. To face against Heavenly Star Water and Fire Sisters, they naturally recognized themselves as not being opponents, let alone there was also the bright star that had comprehended the Heaven Earth Dark Yellow skill. Scram then, this wasn't even a warm-up for Big Sister. Zhang Feiyu had the urge to chase. Feiyu, do not pursue. Xiu hastily called her back, so as to avoid the impulsive boatman falling into a trap. Hunyanzi's eyes followed their backs until they disappeared. Her Heaven Earth Dark Yellow skill, when autumn's golden wind embraces jade dew, was activated under the condition her contractor was powerless. The golden wind and jade dew double sabers unleashed a green and gold saber chi that wound around herself and Xiuxiu. For the time being, Hunyanzi was unable to leave from within a certain range of Xiuxiu. The saber light hid. You all came. Xiuxiu smiled. Is milord all right? Xiu asked, concerned. Xiuxiu shook his head. Water splashed. Zhang Yuqi jumped right in front of Xiuxiu like a mermaid. Her fluffy golden twintails were still dazzling as before, moving like the waves. The girl was all smiles and said, Yuqi rushed over with lots of speed. Are you all right? Xiuxiu received her influence, and he could not help but relax. The white stripe in the waves winked. She ambiguously spied Xiuxiu's two lolas. You truly have a lot of luck with women. Saying this, Zhang Yuqi moved close to Xiuxiu's ear, softly whispering, Little sister bright star who Sanyang surprisingly comprehended her Heaven Earth Dark Yellow skill with you. Tell Yuqi, did you make her give you a blowjob? Xiuxiu did not know whether to laugh or cry. Hearing her tease him like this, he knew that the damaged star in his memory with that damaging tone had truly returned. However, at this time, Xiuxiu did not have much of a mood to return the compliment. After beating back the water and fire generals, the Nine Hells again restored its tranquility. Everyone's lines of sight gathered on the Heaven Earth Dark Yellow Thousand Pagoda of Chao Gai. That Buddhist light that sprinkled down on the 9 firmaments made them feel even more pressured. The big sister of Maiden Mountain made every star maiden present curious. Xiuxiu shook her head at the devil-transformed Guanyin. Chao Gai had been continuously using the Heaven-Earth Dark Yellow Thousand Pagoda's Buddhist light to inhibit the Devil Star and slowly absorb it into the pagoda. The unexpected attack of the water and fire generals naturally had been in her sight, but Chao Gai naturally would not pay close attention to the fight between the star generals and remained unmoved. On the contrary, when she saw Hun Yangzi use the Heaven-Earth Dark Yellow skill, when autumn's golden wind embraces Jade dew, she showed a peculiar expression. Do you have anything you would like to say to Su Xing? Chao Gai saw that Guan Ying's gaze was concentrated on herself, and then she indifferently asked. The brave star was silent. Is that so? Chao Gai thought aloud. Her hand shook, and the Heaven-Earth Dark Yellow Thousand Pagoda's 9 stories of Buddhist light slowly receded. Brave Star Great Blade Guanyin was finally absorbed into the 9th floor of the pagoda. In the sky, a star that seemed obscured by fog slowly vanished, and finally completely dimmed. Brave Star. Star Duel End. Su Xing watched the renowned Brave Star Great Blade Guanyin leave the star duels. He sighed in disappointment and frustration. Although she had withdrawn from the star duels. As far as Guanyin was concerned, this perhaps was not necessarily the best way to be freed. The Buddhist light disappeared. Chao Gai's hands clasped the pagoda, and then she descended to Su Xing's front. Hun Yangzi, Zhang Yuqi, Xiuxiu, and the others were incomparably anxious. They feared Chao Gai would make a move against Su Xing. Su Xing cast them a relieved expression. He looked at the godly woman that should have been angry but was not, and he asked, Chao Gai, what'll happen to Guanyin? She will be refined within the pagoda. Is she dead? Zhang Yuqi was taken aback. This will depend on her own luck. If the Devil Star can be refined away, that would be for the best. Chao Gai did not explain clearly. However, Su Xing could tell, Chao Gai really was not thinking of making things difficult for Guanyin. Chao Gai fixed her gaze on Su Xing for a moment, and then she raised her head to look at the heaven-supporting pillar, Maiden Mountain. At a distance of hundreds of millions of li away, Maiden Mountain's domineering aura was still majestic. This one asks you one final time. Are you prepared to bear the price of breaking the rules? Chao Gai, Nyangzi will not allow you to harm dear husband. Nyangzi's double sabers unsheathed. The other girls looked as if they were facing a great enemy when they heard this. Su Xing restrained her impulse and faintly said, I'll never go back once I do something. Very good. Chao Gai gave him an expression of praise. A very slight, minute curve appeared at the corner of her lips. Evil smiting hall has ended. You are unable to imagine Maiden Mountain's trials. This one advises you make all haste to call them all back, in order to not leave behind regrets before you die. What are you saying? Hun Yangzi's tone was full of cold. Chao Gai smiled. She leapt backwards, dispersed golden light, and her figure seemed to ripple and dissolve into the air. She completely vanished, leaving only a sentence that seemed to care yet not care for them. When you see that Maiden Mountain has a peculiar image, this means that Maiden Mountain's trial for you has begun. Do your best. This one is very curious to what degree you can break the rules of the star duels at the very end. Does Papa know Chao Gai? Bai Yutang pinched the corners of Su Xing's clothes, her eyes wide as she shyly asked. The little loli's question honestly was what the others wanted to ask. Especially Zhang Feiyu, who very directly asked, were you sent by Maiden Mountain? How are you so close to even Chao Gai? This is too unimaginable. I broke the rules. Chao Gai has come to admonish me on behalf of Maiden Mountain. Su Xing shrugged. So Maiden Mountain feels that young Su has contracted too many sisters and wants to test you. Yuqi actually has never heard of this. Zhang Yuqi pursed her lips, feeling quite displeased with Maiden Mountain's methods. Zhang Feiyu gasped, in that case, Su Xing, since you have contracted so many sisters, not only is it impossible for you to ascend Maiden Mountain, you could even lose your life at any time. That's right. Su Xing nodded. Ah, little sister, don't you want to reconsider? Zhang Feiyu was very pragmatic. She felt that Xiuxiu had so many sisters, anyways, for her little sister to contract with him, she felt too wronged. This practically felt like a concubine. Elder sister. Xiuxiu coquettishly glared. Regardless of how extreme Maiden Mountain's trials are for Milord, Xiu will stand at Milord's side. Xiu said, tender and sincere. Xiuxiu smiled. He shook his head, not at all hoping for her to do this. Just as they said this, they saw Xiuxiu's exhaustion and still decided to first return to the immortal's abode. At this time, suddenly, the sky seemed to shake. They lifted their heads to look. Their originally relaxed mood immediately tensed. Not a moment after Chao Gai left, the next moment Maiden Mountain then displayed an abnormality. The heaven-supporting pillar burst forth with a gorgeous rainbow light. Immediately afterwards, a crimson light spewed out. After the crimson light, there was another moment. An orange followed closely behind. Then, yellow, green, azure, blue, and purple light shot out in succession. Red, orange, yellow, green, azure, blue, purple were 7 colors. When the rainbow lights shot out, it was extremely blinding. However, it disappeared immediately afterwards, dissolving without a trace into the boundless horizon. The advice Chao Gai left honestly was right on time. Xiuxiu took in a deep breath. Xiu and the others had grave expressions. The 7 lights that Maiden Mountain spouted were extremely out of the ordinary. Even with this enormous distance, they could still feel their lungs choke. I'm going back first. I have to forge the earth element flying swords. Xiuxiu, let's part ways for now. Xiuxiu said, not wanting to implicate them. Hey, young Su, can you even forge a flying sword in this shape? Xiuxiu teased him and winked. Since young Su has saved Xiuxiu naturally cannot leave now. Xiuxiu, what your elder sister said is right. We don't even know what Maiden Mountain's trials are. It's too dangerous for you to stick with me. Xiuxiu gravely said. Aren't they in danger? Xiuxiu's gaze looked to Bai Yutang and the others. If I can minimize things, then I naturally will. Xiuxiu shook his head. However, young Su has saved Xiuxiu. Xiuxiu nevertheless should repay you, Xiuxiu bashfully said, somewhat honest, somewhat feigned. Xiuxiu laughed, actually not minding very much about the damaged star's repayment. No need. You and I are friends. Something as small as this isn't worth a mention. So generous. Zhang Feiyu chuckled. Xiuxiu's cheeks flushed red. She rolled her eyes at Xiuxiu. Then, she showed pearly white teeth and candidly smiled. However, Xiuxiu certainly does not want to owe young Su a favor. And her fragrance wafted, assaulting him in the face. Before Xiuxiu could react, Xiuxiu suddenly pounced. She spread her arms and clasped Xiuxiu's chin. Her supple red lips solemnly stuck to his. She tenderly kissed him, like flowing water. This made Bai Yutang curiously widen her eyes. Hun Yangzi, fearing the child would be led astray, opened her arms and shielded Bai Yutang's pure gaze. She herself stared at Xiuxiu and Xiuxiu's deep and intimate kiss. Her heart could not help but be moved. A scorching mark appeared on each of their foreheads. In the sky, another crimson star ignited. This kiss ended, and their saliva drew thin as silk. Xiuxiu's lips were dripping wet. This was the first time he felt a kiss so full of the sea's moisture. As expected of white stripe in the waves. Furthermore, an abundant, ocean-like energy once again bubbled forth throughout Xiuxiu's whole exhausted body. Xiuxiu, you really aren't scared of danger, Xiuxiu was speechless. Whatever. Aren't the star duels hand in hand with danger? Xiuxiu smiled without a care. Xiuxiu nodded and said nothing more. Liked it? Vermilion Bird Territory, Heavenly Rainbow Mountain. Several days after the ruins, Lin Yingmei and Hua Wanhua came to Vermilion Bird Territory's Five Colors City. A tavern accidentally caught their eye. This inn appeared somewhat dilapidated, and at first glance, it was mediocre, even shabby. Its business was obviously cold and unfrequented. Other than this, the couple on the door actually made people feel impressed. The upper couplet said, windy and curvy, back and forth, flower and leaf, river and mountain, people happy, searching everywhere. The lower couple was, year and age, sunset every day, rain and wind, oriole and swallow, wanting coming going, often green and red. 2. The horizontal scroll read, leisure in. 3. This couplet's calligraphy was very fine, the upper verse's characters written gracefully with swiftness that did not lose vigor, and the lower verse characters were like floating clouds, yet like a dragon, written with force. This was extremely impressive, and seeing those characters would make one feel of a deeply impressionable woman. Lin Yingmei and Hua Wanhua looked at each other. Both somewhat curious, they strode into the inn. Though the inn's exterior was deplorable, the inside was spotless and very clean. There were many guests, however, a close inspection showed these were ordinary folk. Occasionally there was the wine drinking and laughter of several cultivators suppressing their presence. What would you two guests like? The innkeeper was an aloof yet mysteriously smiling woman. She wore a light blue pleated skirt that dragged along the ground. Watery lotuses and jasmines faintly bloomed in her sleeves, and her fine black hair was tied up in a loose cloud bun. She leisurely wore a silver sash, and there was a loose black palace belt around her waist. There was a simple flying butterfly silver petal pin stuck in, the light-colored tassels drooping as they wished. In the wind, they rippled around, and there was a spot of cinnabar between her brows. Her posture was graceful and beautiful, calm to the utmost. Was the couplet on the door written by innkeeper? Hua Wanhua said. The upper one was written by my daughter, and the lower one was written by my daughter's little sister, Qingyan. 5. The woman said. Truly good words. My daughter is Xiuxiu. 6. Keeper of the leisure inn. Are you two ladies seeking words or a meal? Xiuxiu was like her name. 7. Smiling somewhat mysteriously but not repulsively. We are seeking sisterly sentiments. Hua Wanhua looked at Lin Yingmei. Seeing as how you two ladies have very profound affection. 8. If you are not opposed, you may have my little sister draw a painting of you two ladies as a memento. Xiuxiu slightly smiled. A portrait? Hua Wanhua asked Lin Yingmei. The hero star's face was slightly red. Yingmei, what do you feel? N. Lin Yingmei was not opposed. Then please follow your servant. The three of them came to the second floor of the inn and entered an oddly smelling room. In the room was a young girl currently painting with ink. That young woman's jet black and supple hair was coiled into a beautiful bun, but several strands of stray hair fanned out. She wore a graceful and spiritual light gold embroidered long robe that covered a similarly colored half-transparent muslin dress, dragging along the ground. Star General. Lin Yingmei and Hua Wanhua immediately sensed some familiarity. Xiuxiu cast a glance. Qingyan, these two ladies have affinity with each other. Elder sister would like to ask little sister to paint a portrait for them as a souvenir. No, we are not like. Yingmei and I are only friends, close friends. Hua Wanhua flashed with a bit of fluster. Xiuxiu hung her customary mysterious smile and exchanged several words with that Qingyan girl. The latter nodded. You two have a good time, your servant shall go take care of the guests now. Xiuxiu leisurely departed. What are you two elder sisters called? Lin Yingmei. Hua Wanhua. The pair calmly replied. As top-notch star generals, of course they would not play around with those little tricks. Furthermore, Lin Yingmei discerned that the little sister before them was still full of benevolence. What is little sister called? Hua Wanhua asked. My daughter is surnamed Xiao. 9. Qingyan answered. She appeared to be full of vitality, like a lily in the middle of a lake, exquisitely beautiful. So it was like this. Do elder sisters still want your portrait? Xiao Qingyan softly asked. N. Then, please sit for now, elder sisters. They did not think too much about wanting the painting. When it came time to arrange their posture, Hua Wanyu was truly a bit at a loss. Lin Yingmei was dignified, standing erect like a modeling statue, full of a mighty heroism. Her flourishing heroic air made Xiuxiu quite moved. Hua Wanyu thought for a while, and then she stood shoulder to shoulder with Lin Yingmei. The hero star was a beauty, her manners refined, natural and unrestrained. One was heroic, the other elegant. They practically were a match made in heaven. Xiuxiu could not help but praise that these two elder sisters truly were a match made in heaven. Hua Wanyu wanted to refute this, but seeing Lin Yingmei was indifferent, she seemed to think of something and then not say anything. Xiuxiu rubbed some ink. She extended a hand and scratched the air. A sparkling and beautiful pure black bamboo brush appeared. This brush had 4 twinkling stars, printed with countless symbols circulating upon it. The brush's head was carved in the likeness of a wolf's head. Elder sisters, do you mind if Qing Yan uses the life-managing black bamboo wolf brush, 10, to paint the portrait? Xiuxiu asked. Please. Xiuxiu's expression became sharp when she took up the brush. She scrutinized Lin Yingmei and Hua Wanyu for a moment. Her hand rose and the brush descended. The life-managing black bamboo wolf brush's purple light flowed with her strokes, bold and powerful, roaming about. Each metamorphosed into purple smoke, extremely beautiful. Xiuxiu was outside the door at this moment, paying attention to every movement inside. This mysteriously smiling and graceful woman was precisely Xiuxiu's star master. She recognized they were powerful. Before Lin Yingmei and Hua Wanyu entered the room, she had vaguely guessed their identities. The reason why she introduced them to Xiuxiu was not at all as a trap or star duel. Although she acted as a star master and should be an enemy of other star generals, Xiuxiu's actions often were as mysterious as her smile. When she heard Lin Yingmei and Hua Wanyu introduce themselves, Xiuxiu was startled, inwardly glad. Immediately afterwards, she saw Xiuxiu and the pair chat warmly, and only then did she descend the stairs. Xiuxiu's brush moved like a serpent, sketching contours, a rich style. 2 absolutely beautiful images appeared on the paper. Whether Xiuxiu was deliberate or not, of the Lin Yingmei and Hua Wanyu in the painting, one was unyielding while the other was gentle. There was a sort of indescribably subtle feeling. The characters were vivid and lifelike, their attire appearing to have been blown by the wind at times, and at others, their skin pressed close together. Honestly, it was extremely true to life, as if they could leap out from the painting. Just as the portrait was about complete. Suddenly, there were frightened yells on the street outside the tavern. The 3 girls' bodies shuddered, abruptly sensing something. Lin Yingmei's expression changed. With a quick step, she opened the window, and her figure disappeared. Hua Wanyu was surprised and immediately followed. On the roof of the tavern. Lin Yingmei's gaze stared at Maiden Mountain on the horizon, her expression full of grimness. Yingmei, what is wrong? Hua Wanyu's brows twisted, and then she gasped. She saw that the stagnant and lifeless Maiden Mountain had shot ray after ray of 7 rainbow lights. This light's activity could be said to be strong, perceivable from even 100 million li away. Strange, why would Maiden Mountain have such an abnormality? Hua Wanyu was very bewildered. Hua Wanyu, your servant must go back. Lin Yingmei calmly said, an ice cold in her eyes. Go back. Their intimate interactions these past few days made Hua Wanyu forget that the renowned majestic star panther head Lin Chong that was before her had certainly signed the first contract she had in 1,000 years. Yingmei, I do not understand why you would sign a contract. If the two of us united, seeing Lin Yingmei's eyes show an icy expression, Hua Wanyu's heart sighed. She shook her head, I am very curious as to why you would want to sign a contract. Did your counterpart use some despicable means? If this is actually the case, I will endure a torn body and crushed bones to help you, Yingmei. Mentioning Xiuxiu, Lin Yingmei's gaze immediately filled with tender sentiments that made Hua Wanyu flabbergasted. There was no need for any reply, for Hua Wanyue already knew the answer. Was this still that valiant and formidable majestic star? Hua Wanyue, are you willing to go back together with your servant? Lin Yingmei suddenly thought of something and asked. If you see young master, you will naturally understand. Lin Yingmei faintly said. Hua Wanyue just so happened to have this idea, I gratefully accept your invitation. Just as they were about to leave, Hua Wanyue remembered something and flashed back in. The Shao Qingyan who was watching Maiden Mountain with Xiuxiu was startled. Elder sister Wanyue. We have matters to attend to that need our immediate return. The portrait needs only a little more to be finished. I fear Yingmei does not have the mind for this portrait. Hua Wanyue was disappointed. Can you hand this painting over to me? I wonder how much I should repay you. Please treat it as little sister's gift to elder sister. I thank you. If there is another opportunity, we shall certainly have you draw the rest. Hua Wanyue gracefully nodded. Although she said this, she left behind an astral stone. The hero star received the painting, her cheeks slightly red. She faintly smiled, then disappeared, leaving behind a warning. Most recently, the White Tiger Territory Star Masters have appeared in the Vermilion Bird Territory. Little Sister Literature Star, 11, please be careful. Shao Qingyan looked at Xiuxiu in fright. The latter hung a mysterious smile, pensive. She said to Shao Qingyan, it seems that you have run into two very good elder sisters Qingyan. N. Void Immortal's Abode. Su Xing was alone in seclusion inside a sword-forging space. He sat cross-legged within an array. In front of him were 12 pieces of Gen Wu divine iron arranged in a circle. His hand pointed. One piece of Gen Wu divine iron immediately hovered, slowly floating towards Su Xing. Su Xing did not open his eyes. When the flying blade was 3 chi in front of him, it stopped. His hands formed a hand seal, and he spewed purple chi. With a soft bang, the purple star true chi perfectly struck the Gen Wu divine iron, instantly wrapping around it. Su Xing slowly read an incantation. The purple star true chi immediately was even more vigorous. Purple light instantly surged throughout, and the divine iron floating inside began to gradually melt. The expression on Su Xing's face began to turn serious. He stared at this thing without blinking once. Since the Gen Wu divine iron was already refined first by Tang Lianxin, refining it once again had saved a lot of time and resources. Now, the Su Xing who was fighting for every single second honestly was very fortunate. About 2 hours later, that piece of Gen Wu divine iron was already like water. Su Xing flung his sleeve, rolling up a jade case on the floor. He refined spirit sand, life-bound mind flowers, and other materials into the divine iron. A spiritual light manifested, densely crisscrossing. Then, Su Xing started to use sword forging techniques. The approximately 3-inch wide sword embryo slowly took shape. Su Xing struck every kind of hand seal, beginning to carve a sword array, talisman script, cloud marks, and inscriptions. A long while afterwards, that enormous sword already was carved in Su Xing's hand. With a black turtle as its hilt, wrapped in sword marks, when he was carving the sword's name into the hilt, Su Xing pondered. He saw that the cloud marks on the Gen Wu divine iron automatically formed a gorgeous heavenly mountain. He recalled that the Gen Wu divine iron was located in the ocean depths of 10,000 li. Its ocean-suppressing power seemed to shake the heavens, and his heart had a thought. His fingertip roamed. His grand writing style revealed 2 words of talent. Heavenly Abyss. 9 Dragons Palace. Xiuxiu lifted her head to look at the brilliant stars in the sky, her expression pensive. A moment later, the door behind her opened, and a graceful and beautiful woman flew out. Xiuxiu, are you waiting for that man to come marry you? Shi Jingluan wore a mocking expression as she walked in. Your star weapon has advanced to 5 star. Xiuxiu glanced sideways at her. Mentioning this, Shi Jingluan was somewhat angry. If it was not for that man who suddenly rushed out and stole some of the yellow dragon pearls, she would not have wasted so much time. Back on topic, I just encountered Hu Sanyang. Could it be said that man who stole my things is that man you call Su Xing? Shi Jingluan's eyes flashed with coldness. As matters stand, whether or not he is meaningless. Qingxi slightly smiled. Shi Jingluan grunted. What are you preparing to do next? Qingxi is preparing to go seek out the remaining sisters. Already, Dai Zong's trail has been found. Qingxi pondered. The magic traveler. This is certainly a thorny little sister. Shi Jingluan pursed her lips, not at all convinced that Qingxi could recruit her into the uprising. Right, has Qingxi assembled those little sisters from the Spring Breeze Drunken Rain Pavilion for the uprising? Other than female tiger Gu Deseo, who is somewhat apprehensive. Qingxi replied. Is that so? Take it slowly then. Gu Deseo seems to have a good relationship with that Su Xing. 9 tattooed dragons. Shi Jingluan's brow wrinkled tightly. Her heart filled with a sort of feeling of foreboding. How was it possible for a single star master to attract the notice of so many star maidens? This honestly was outrageous. Jingluan, what are you preparing to do next? Guaning has already left these star duels. Now, Great Saint Starkiller is already a stray dog. I was just about to use her to test the 5 stars yellow dragon staff. Shi Jingluan curled her lips into a grin. Perhaps this is perfect for comprehending the earth rank technique. Qingxi nodded. Everything was working smoothly. 3 Ruan's water fort. At this time, Wan Jiner was currently sifting through the astral bag she obtained from killing Ming Dai. The operation to slay Guaning could be said to have been foiled repeatedly, however, knowing that Guaning had withdrawn from the star duels. The hate in her heart finally greatly diminished. Although she was unable to personally dispatch Guaning, there was still a chance to kill Great Saint Starkiller. Looking at this practically instantly killed Supervoid middle stage cultivator, Wan Jiner was very curious about some things. As a Supervoid cultivator, one of the 4 great law protectors of the Devil Star Palace, it could be assumed she would not be too burdensome. Ha, 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 ha. Wan Jiner abruptly burst out laughing, which made the Ruan mayor reading the water kettle margin raise her face. 48 pieces of spirit jade and 100 liang of spirit sand floated above the table. Saint of War jade, Black Sea spirit sand. Unexpectedly, these are materials for upgrading the 5-star Great Blade. Wan Jiner said in pleasant surprise. These materials originally were prepared by Ming Dai for Guan Ying's upgrade to 5-star. However, in the end, Guaning used the Devil Star to upgrade to 5-star, and these lost their use. Now, this actually was a great convenience for Sword Star Tai Sui, who stands his ground. However, Saint of War Jade was not suitable for upgrading the Sword Star's Azure Sea's green duckweed. Using them for an exchange was nevertheless not a problem. These unexpected upgrade materials already made Wan Jiner satisfied, but the best was yet to come. Hell Illusion Death Butterfly Sword. 2. Wan Jiner's eyes glinted. This flying sword art was but an extremely wicked sword chant. All flying swords it employed could produce death butterfly true spirits, with one becoming many more, transforming into endless numbers. Wan Jiner's innate skill sword chant had previously already learned several dozen types of sword chant. She was able to control hundreds of flying swords, but all of the flying swords she learned had limits and were unable to advance. When she faced off against Su Xing's immemorial sword chant, she completely was at a disadvantage. Wan Jiner saw that all of the powers of the Hell Fantasy Death Butterfly flying swords that Ming Dai left behind were very complete, perfect for to be able to change some swords out. This Ming Dai's pleasant surprises for Wan Jiner truly were endless. 5-star materials, Hell Fantasy Death Butterfly flying swords, and now she also found a prehistoric spirit treasure, soul-searching chain, and several supervoid magic weapons. However, Wan Jiner was incapable of using these magic weapons. Considering the imminent start of the Crystal Dragon Palace's treasure feast, she actually could use these for trade. Afterwards, there were some top-notch pills and talismans, even the super-grade talisman named Yin Realm Black Lotus Curse Creation Talisman. 3. Although she did not know what this talisman was used for, super-grade talismans were comparable to prehistoric spirit treasures. Seeing so many things, Wan Jiner somewhat felt that Ming Dai's death was not worth so much. As expected, we cannot be careless around this kind of supervoid middle stage. Wan Jiner muttered to herself. Mayor, these pills are perfect for helping you increase cultivation. Slowly refine them. Wan Jiner threw over several small bottles. Wan Mayor assented, taking them into her hand. At just this moment, a disciple outside the door announced his presence. Has Great Saint Starkiller's whereabouts been located? Wan Jiner asked. Reporting to Great Fort Master, from the information we just received, Great Saint Starkiller has died. What? Wan Jiner and Wan Mayor showed surprise. Was it 9 tattooed dragons Shijingluan's doing? Wan Jiner was unhappy. Reportedly, it is the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon. Surprisingly him. Several days later, Xiuxiu emerged from his sword-forging space. At this time, several more beauties had appeared in the immortal's abode. Suan, little E, you came back. Xiuxiu saw that Suan and Yan Yizhen had returned, and he could not hide the love in his heart as he ran over and tenderly hugged each one. You've worked hard. How did you get along with Han Yan these past few days? Xiuxiu asked, concerned. Suan warmly nodded, softly saying, Big brother, we encountered elder sister Xiuxiu at the very end in the palace of Empress Hua. Everything honestly was thanks to elder sister Xiuxiu. Where is Xiuxiu? Suan leaned close to his ear, and Xiuxiu broke into laughter. As it turned out, Xiuxiu was still shy. Suan, little E, get to know Yuqi, Tang Tang, and Nyangzi. I'm going to pick up Xiuxiu. Xiuxiu announced. Alright. Outside the immortal's abode. A beautiful woman currently stood on the mountain peak, overlooking the mountain river's beauty. Her hair that was like a flowing river covered past her jutting butt, a stark contrast to her palace dress. There was a sort of charm of a lily in the snow. The silk stuck close to her skin, outlining her curves that would make any man crazy. Wifey, won't you come in? A tender voice came from behind the woman. A pair of strong arms hugged this graceful body. Xiuxiu shuddered. Only because she knew that the fire beside her ear was familiar did she not use killing intent to tear apart the other person. However, even so, such brazen conduct still made Xiuxiu surprised. The harm star's ears burned, and she pursed her lips, gently saying, Lord husband, release your servant, wifey, I've missed you so much. Xiuxiu whispered into her ear. Xiuxiu felt her heart go limp. Her upraised but was fiery against Xiuxiu's close touch. Just as Xiuxiu was about to push Xiuxiu away, suddenly, Xiuxiu spun her around to face her. The pair stared at each other, and without saying anything about his feelings, Xiuxiu lowered his head and could not help but kiss her. Xiuxiu's eyes froze. She was too late to explain before her moist lips were seized by the man. Xiuxiu's hands continued to make Xiuxiu unable to escape. Her heart softened, and Xiuxiu closed her eyes. Her arms wrapped around Xiuxiu's neck, wantonly sucking back on his lips and tongue. Their hot kiss was intimate. Immediately, the kiss was even more fervent. Xiuxiu's hands could not help but automatically roam along Xiuxiu's absolutely beautiful body. His hand stroked her tender butt, and the Xiuxiu who currently sunk into the kiss completely ignored the caresses her butt received. Up until Xiuxiu's hand slipped into her jacket, when his dexterous grasp gripped her plumpness, only then did Xiuxiu sober up. That is enough. Xiuxiu broke free of Xiuxiu's embrace and took several steps back, her cheeks pink as her cool elegance carried a moving charm. Wifey, just when will you be willing to marry me? Xiuxiu pouted, his teeth still retaining Xiuxiu's moving fragrance. What made Xiuxiu gloomy was that he had kissed her like lovers stuck together like glue, yet she still surprisingly did not sign a contract. Marry you? Xiuxiu was taken aback. Thinking of Xiuxiu's meaning, her cheeks turned crimson. Her pupils gleamed crystalline. In the future, okay. Xiuxiu was very helpless. He extended a hand and smiled, Xiu, then come home with me. Only then did Xiu calm her heart yet become restless. She gently bit her lips, and actually extended a hand to grip Xiuxiu's. With great charm, she entered the immortal's abode with Xiuxiu, the harm star. Xiu's appearance made the Zhang sisters tongue-tied. Although they already knew beforehand that Xiuxiu had both great millennial star generals Majestic Star and Harm Star, but they did not know what these star generals were exactly. When they saw Xiu, even the Zhang Yuqi who did not stick to a pattern and the irascible Zhang Feiyu could not help but become deferential. Little sister Zhang Yuqi, little sister Bai Yutang, little sister Nyangzi, Lord Husband has already introduced you all to your servant. Xiu recovered her normal composure, faintly smiling. Surprise flashed past bright star Hunyangzi. Puffing out her chest and not to be outdone, this made Xiu smile. Bai Yutang was somewhat scared facing the harm star whose every action carried dignity. She hid behind Ansuan. Ansuan lowered her head, led her hand and showed a tender smile. Little sister Yutang, don't be scared. Xiu is a very good elder sister. The efficacious star was much more tender than Xiu, and Bai Yutang cutely nodded. He then introduced water illusion fairy Xiu and Zhang Feiyu. Xiu stared at Xiuxiu, as if she was saying that so little time had passed yet he brought back so many sisters. Her heart unavoidably was a bit jealous, however, upon recalling the life and death between the sisters in the star duels, her jealousy quickly faded. Master, Maiden Mountain released a rainbow light. Has the trial come? The taciturn Yanizhan spoke. The bustling atmosphere immediately turned somewhat somber. Chao Gai said so. It seems that trial has something to do with Maiden Mountain. Xiuxiu wrinkled his brow. It was just that Chao Gai was not clear, so he did not know what trial that was. Is Yingmei still not back? Xiu said. Yingmei is already on her way. She just needs a few days. Xiuxiu used their mutual sensitivity. He knew Lin Yingmei's approximate position, and his heart relaxed. However, there is no sign of Xinjie and Yuan at all. Strange. Perhaps they were exceptionally far or they were in a special area. Considering Wu Xinjie and Shi Yuan would go to ancient ruins, with so many various interiors, Xiuxiu had no way to be completely certain. Fortunately, the response from their star crests was very calm. There was no feeling of danger, otherwise Xiuxiu honestly would be anxious. Big brother does not need to be worried. Elder sister Xinjie's clever schemes do not have danger. Ansuan said. At the current stage, the Knowledge Star's Earth rank special move can be comprehended. Zhang Yuqi said. Let's wait. Let's put off the Bright Moon Longevity Palace Chai Ling mentioned for now. Xiuxiu nodded. But at this time, Xiuxiu perhaps would never have thought that Wu Xinjie and Shi Yuan would go to the White Tiger territory. Dear husband, is your flying sword complete? When Bright Star Hunyangzi heard Xiu address Xiuxiu as Lord Husband, she was somewhat unwilling to concede defeat. Xiu merely smiled, but indeed, her attention was attracted by Hunyangzi's words. Lord Husband, allow your servant to test Lord Husband's flying swords. Your servant wonders if Lord Husband's martial arts is out of practice after experiencing these sisters. Xiu took out Noble Frost Demonic Lotus, with a double entendres in her words. Xiuxiu chuckled. His divine intent moved. 12 flying swords flashed out. The appearance of these swords was unordinary. Each sword's blade was 10 inches wide. The Zhen Wu Divine Iron's composition made the sword's edge gleam beautifully, projecting the magnificent cloud marks. It was full of a heaviness like that of a mountain. At first glance, these swords would appear more like indestructible dams or shields. The 12 heavenly abyss earth element swords were categorized as that sort of absolute defense sword array. It was crafted with the utmost care, and it was capable of engaging even against 4-star, 5-star, or even 6- and 7-star generals' destined weapons without moving. Is that so? Your servant is much obliged. After speaking, her cool and elegant figure moved. Bang! A clear ring. Xiuxiu retreated, showing slight surprise. Her 4-star noble frost demonic lotus unexpectedly did not move in the slightest, cutting these heavenly abyss. That defensive power far exceeded Harm-star pilgrim's imagination. Wifey, don't give up. Xiuxiu smiled, raising his head. The 12 heavenly abyss arranged into an array, feeling stifling. Dear husband, can Xiuxiu also follow elder sister together? Xiuxiu was not to be outdone and took out her 5-star destined weapon. The bright star looked at Xiuxiu, her beautiful eyes flowing with an inquisitive luster. If little sister is willing, then lecture this unfaithful lord husband with elder sister. Xiuxiu smiled. The other girls grinned. Xiuxiu's eyes darkened, and Xiuxiu showed a puzzled expression. Wifeys, you both have a heaven-earth dark yellow skill with me. Let it go, lord husband wants to be intimate with my wives. Xiuxiu immediately said and indirectly alleviated Xiuxiu's depression. Xiuxiu was surprised, somewhat astonished. Little sister Xiuxiu, as lord husband has said as such, do not be underestimated. Little sister understands. The Harm Star and Bright Star were suddenly very understanding and launched an attack. A rumbling noise made the other beauties dumbstruck. The heavenly abyss sword array unexpectedly was somewhat on the verge of collapse. Xiuxiu's mouth hung agape. Hey, this duo seemed to be somewhat excessive. A continuously undulating mountain range. A dense forest that covered the sky and shielded the ground. An ancient atmosphere that inhibited small beings from coming close. Gloomy rays of light intermittently penetrated the dense foliage, yet it could appear even more depressed. The forest here was very old, as its name implied, as if it had existed ever since the continent itself had existed. The ancient forest was filled with the heavy and gloomy sounds of creaking tree trunks, as if the trees themselves had voices. They seemed to be whispering in conversation. A bone-chilling feeling was in the air. In this darkness, 2 young women cut through the thorns and thistles, moving through the twisted and dense vegetation. Elder sister, let's go back. The young girl wearing black night clothes stretched her slender figure, cautiously on guard against her surroundings. The giant tiger puppets guarding their flanks appeared to not give her any comfort. If Xiuxiu is worried, that's bad. The girl dressed in a dull blue short skirt walking in front was much more carefree by contrast. She planned in advance, leisurely wandering, as if she was walking in her own backyard. Seeing the other girl was so nervous, she snickered. Your Honor, if young lord was to see the best thief under heaven, he would laugh to death. The 2 girls were Knowledge Star Wu Xinjie and Thief Star Xiuxiu. Sister Xinjie, this is but the White Tiger territory. Xiuxiu twisted her face. That was right, the White Tiger territory. Ever since the connecting heaven ancient tomb, the pair then went to several other ruins. Their harvest was far from lacking, and after discovering a teleportation array, they passed a mountain. With a look, Wu Xinjie said that they might as well go on a trip to the White Tiger territory. This request scared Your Honor. The White Tiger territory was Liangshan continent's forbidden area, a prehistoric and ancient restricted area. Few had entered ever since its creation. In the past, there was no lack of supervoid-level cultivators who entered this forbidden place in search of life-energy holy fruits the likes of the life-extending flat peach, but cultivators who could actually leave the White Tiger territory were extremely few. Supervoid cultivators who searched for life-energy fruits mostly died without a trace in the White Tiger territory. For this reason, the White Tiger territory had a White Tiger territory saying, if you want to commit suicide, then go to the White Tiger territory and jump off a cliff. Maybe you can pick up the cultivation methods and treasures left behind by a supervoid cultivator. These words were very true. In 10,000 years, it was unknown just how many corpses were buried in the White Tiger territory. Even so, no one dared to intrude. A reason was perhaps that the White Tiger territory's dangers honestly were far more intimidating than the enticement. Since ancient times, Legend said that the White Tiger territory was the place that ancient demon beasts roamed freely. 7th and 8th rank demon beasts could be found everywhere, and there were even rumors that said some of the demon beasts possessed endless life energy and broke through to transforming Star of Annihilation. The White Tiger territory hid these monsters, so this did not let Xiuxiu be at ease. A transforming Star of Annihilation level of demon beast, this was too big of an appetite. But in the connecting heaven ancient tomb, the knowledge star was full of curiosity about the White Tiger territory's star master. Thus, only then did Wu Xinjie have the mind to probe just what happened in the White Tiger territory during the 9th generation star duels. She vaguely sensed that the White Tiger territory this time should have changes. No need to worry, Your Honor. We have the Three Realms Immortal Movement Pendant. If there is actual danger, then we just run. Wu Xinjie saw that Xiuxiu was unsure and spoke to comfort her. The Three Realms Immortal Movement Pendant was one thing they collected from the connecting heaven ancient tomb. This ancient treasure had already been refined into a purple star astral treasure by Wu Xinjie, and it was categorized the same as the purple star jade pendant. Upon use of the jade pendant, they would disappear in a flash, warping over 10,000 li away. The sole weakness was that the warp exit was not known. Besides, Xinjie has already comprehended her Earth rank. We just need to be careful. It is not as if we have come on a hunt, but we have come to help young Lord investigate as to why the White Tiger territory would have a Star Master in existence. It is reasonable to say that just one Star Master alone is unable to seize the birth treasure outline. Xinjie fears there is a mystery within. Wu Xinjie smiled. Furthermore, this is the border of the White Tiger territory, it is still not as dangerous. Okay. Hearing Wu Xinjie say this, Xiuxiu could only take in a deep breath, to make herself recover her composure. After a while, they passed through the forest and spotted a gorge. Wu Xinjie and Xiuxiu felt thirsty, but just as they went to drink, Hua Shui suddenly blocked their front. The nine-tailed spirit fox scuttled, opening its fox eyes in a hint. Wu Xinjie and Xiuxiu saw this small gorge unexpectedly had more than 100 giant tusked elephants currently drinking water and resting. These giant elephants were probably 4 or 5 meters tall with a pair of eye-catching white tusks. These tusks were like spears, and just the thought of these enormous elephants launching their fastest assault was enough to send shivers down one's spine. Even more peculiar was that their trunks were serpents with their own additional fangs. Python mammoth. Wu Xinjie was astonished, immediately recognizing these beasts. One python mammoth was enough to frighten a person. This place unexpectedly had a herd of more than 100. However, at this moment, this herd of tusked python mammoths nevertheless already were spotted. On the other side of this forest, Wu Xinjie spotted a beast concealed in a hiding place. If it was not for Hua Shui's warning, she basically could not sense that weak killing intent. Wu Xinjie and Xiuxiu immediately stifled their breathing. As expected, not a moment later, the beast hidden in the corner suddenly flew out, drawing a light that was quick as lightning. Astonishingly, it was a nimble wolf whose fur was like feathers. This wolf pounced, and the fur on its body expanded like wings, very beautiful. This evil wolf did not dare underestimate these tusked python mammoths. Its hunting appeared considerably excellent, possessing a certain degree of intelligence. This hungry wolf warped in midair, letting loose a dozen more identical phantoms, with real and fake indistinguishable. These doppelgangers first surrounded these python mammoths from all directions, and then they targeted the single python mammoth that was furthest from the herd. Due to 2 of the wolf doppelgangers isolating it from the rest, at this time, the tusked python mammoth launched a counterattack using its own build. And the other ambushing wolf phantoms launched a pincer attack from the other side. These phantoms' attacks were extremely simple and illusory, but this heavenly wolf mixed itself in among the phantoms, exploiting the blind spots of the python mammoth as it spun around. It fiercely pounced onto this isolated python mammoth. Those sharp claws at this moment were like hooks as they penetrated the enormous elephant's thick hide, non-stop through muscle down to the bone. In the end, it tightly latched on, immediately using its most fatal strike. Subsequently, that wolf opened its exaggerated pelt of feathers and soared away from the elephant's retaliation, taking its prey and escaping. This entire raid took no more than 3 seconds. And one python mammoth was killed. By the time the other elephants noticed, the python trunks of those elephants spat lights, launching their most powerful attack. The phantoms the heavenly wolf released could not withstand a single blow and were torn apart, but this was a useless gesture. That heavenly wolf was extremely smart to flee after killing, becoming the ruler of the valley. Wu Xinjie watched flabbergasted. "Elder sister, look out!" The continuously nervous Xiuxiu suddenly cried out, attacking with her hoodwinking flying claws. Before Wu Xinjie and Hua Shui could react, they noticed that Heavenly Wolf had disappeared like an illusion. This was bad, it was treating them as prey already. The feathered wolf executed a lightning-like attack, its sharp claws and fangs tearing over. 2 of the puppets were unexpectedly shredded before they even attacked. Fortunately, the thief star's reactions were extremely quick. The hoodwinking flying claws flew out, crisscrossing to block, finally stopping its attack. However, Xiuxiu's should had received a laceration. The thief star was fighting to give Wu Xinjie time. The knowledge star did not say another word and activated the 8 gates black gold chain, repelling this wolf beast. Hua Shui sprayed fox fire at this time, forcing the evil wolf into a retreat. At this time, Wu Xinjie finally got a clear look at what this wolf looked like. Its whole body's fur was like feathers, occasionally fanning out, occasionally retracting. It appeared very cunning, and those blood-colored wolf eyes were very enchanting. White smoke flowed up and down its whole body. "Goose feather heavenly wolf." 2. Wu Xinjie cried out, immediately recognizing the origins of this evil wolf. It was unexpectedly Wisdom Star Daredevil third brother Xiuxiu's star beast. "Yuan, are you alright?" Wu Xinjie asked with concern. Xiuxiu shook her head, her shoulder was merely very painful. "Xiuxiu, as the Daredevil third brother, when did you learn to hide your head but show your tail? Could it be you contracted with a shameful star master?" Wu Xinjie called out loudly. Since Xiuxiu's star beast was here, then the person herself ought to be in the vicinity. Just as the goose feather heavenly wolf was about to attack again, just at this moment, there was a long whistle. When the goose feather heavenly wolf heard this, it flew up and onto the mountaintop. Wu Xinjie and Xiuxiu turned their heads, and a sneer crossed Xinjie's face. A young woman descended from the sky. The young woman who descended from the sky had distinctly arranged purple hair, settled neatly against her ears and neck, with a fluffy braid in between. She wore a thin as cicada wing red shadow muslin rose bra, and her waist was wrapped in a verdant flower and smoke skirt. Her outer covering was a trailing red flower plum silk. Her figure was wonderful, her waist slim as a willow, her shoulders sculpted. Her expression had a sort of wolf suppression. "Wisdom Star Daredevil third brother Xiuxiu?" Xinjie asked. The goose feather heavenly wolf was docile beside the young girl, the answer evident. "Your servant is Wisdom Star Daredevil third brother Xiuxiu, true name Xiuxiu." 2. The girl spoke, her voice melodious, but each word was resounding and powerful. "Are you too the knowledge star and thief star?" Xinjie, Xiuxiu. Seeing the wisdom star in the white tiger territory made Wu Xinjie considerably surprised, and seeing that the girl was dressed somewhat raggedly, exposing her snow-white shoulders and cheeks that were marked with a beautiful plum color, unexpectedly somewhat of a good match with the gloomy surroundings. Wu Xinjie was not careless at all. The 8 gates black gold chains rustled, and she looked around, and little sister Xiuxiu's star master. "Your servant does not have a star master." The wisdom star's answer made Wu Xinjie briefly surprised. No contractor, yet she was unexpectedly in the white tiger territory. The Wu Xinjie who wondered about the truthfulness of her words merely smiled and used seeing clearly, suddenly drawing in a sharp breath. The rank 33rd Wisdom Star Daredevil third brother's realm was frighteningly high, surprisingly reaching extreme realm 3rd stage. The star maidens' realms mostly were arranged like the ranks of martial arts. Some top-notch martial generals naturally possessed absolutely high starting points. Thus, their realms far surpassed the others, yet Daredevil third brother Xiuxiu was not one of these top-notch martial generals at all. Nevertheless, to be able to possess Extreme Realm 3rd stage at this phase was practically heaven-bestowed talent. The intelligent Wu Xinjie very quickly thought that it might be possible the little sister Xiuxiu in front of her could have come to the White Tiger territory for the purpose of honing her martial arts. Your servant has offended you just now. Xiuxiu looked at the injured Shi Yuan, casting an expression with just a bit of apology. Shi Yuan snorted. Why is little sister Xiuxiu in the White Tiger territory? Wu Xinjie smiled and asked. Xiuxiu did not answer but looked at those winding 8 gates black gold chains and showed surprise, the legendary 8 gates black gold chain. Your servant wonders if she can experience them. 3. Little sister wants to star duel. Wu Xinjie raised her eyebrows. Your servant does not want to star duel with a sister that has no contractor, but she does want to see if she can break through 8 gates black gold chain. Xiuxiu said, if elder sister feel your servant is committing an offense, then you can use the 8 gates black gold chain to kill your servant. As expected of the Daredevil third brother, she was prepared to lose her life at any time. Shi Yuan had just thought of saying, we have a man, but Wu Xinjie smiled to stop her, saying instead, oh, little sister truly is like her name. There is no need for the politeness. Daredevil third brother Xiuxiu vanished. So fast. Wu Xinjie's eyes did not even blink, unable to even tell where Xiuxiu's figure was. The 8 gates black gold chains already were rolled about with a clang. Xiuxiu's figure was shaken out by the black gold chains. The 8 gates were capable of autonomous defense, and even faster speeds could hardly break through such dense formation. The chains rolled, moving to bind Xiuxiu's wrists like snakes. Xiuxiu nimbly flashed backwards, continuously evading the practically airtight attacks. Master, do you require slaves' possession? Hua Shui asked. The 9-tailed spirit fox had a special characteristic that was to possess Wu Xinjie's body. By doing so, Wu Xinjie's own control over the 8 gates black gold chains were even more perfect, wonderful to the peak. However, Wu Xinjie knew that Xiuxiu was not actually hostile at all. She shook her head. Weather is not predictable. Wu Xinjie's divine intent moved. The 8 gates black gold chains fluctuated. The chains shuttled back and forth in space, like weapons that were separate from time and space. The superb extreme realm that Xiuxiu possessed made unimaginable dodges that violated common sense. But blindly approaching the center of the 8 gates black gold chain, even the extreme realm would have to be careful. Hiss. The chains crisscrossed, finally seizing Daredevil third brother Xiuxiu, securing her 4 limbs as if in preparation for torture. Still want to fight? Wu Xinjie's question was already answered before she even finished asking. Xiuxiu's unusual purple ponytail perked up. Is it so simple? Saber light quick as a shooting star cut apart the 8 gates black gold chains with a clang. The chains fell instantly in a heap from Xiuxiu's limbs. A 7 colors goose feather saber appeared in her hand, its light dancing, unexpectedly cutting free her bonds. As she spoke, she leaned once more and disappeared. Clang! This time, Wu Xinjie did not blink either, wielding the 8 gates black gold chains around her body, warding off Xiuxiu's lightning-quick slashes. Xiuxiu's attack was unsuccessful, and following the deflected blows off the absolutely firm chains, the saber's edge knocked sparks off the chains. Turning around, she sent out a saber chi that was like a wolf's howl, biting from a blind spot in the black gold chains. This was done in a single breath, smooth and flowing. Dark rank saber technique. Wolf's howl 10,000 li. So fast. Wu Xinjie knew that the extreme realm could allow a star general to possess judgment and reactions in battle that surpassed an ordinary person's. The 8 gates black gold chain appeared invulnerable, but the holes between the gaps in the chains were a fatal flaw. However, to grasp this point under a speedy battle, this was the extreme realm. Wu Xinjie quickly fell back, firmly pulling a certain distance away. But this saber chi honestly was too quick, and her shoulder was gouged. Scorching blood spurted from her shoulder, making the atmosphere of battle even thicker. A dazzling light suddenly shot out from the nine-tailed spirit fox's eyes. Xiuxiu's figure swayed, hastily retreating. She retracted the only 2-star 7-colors goose feather saber, already withdrawing outside of the range of the 8 gates black gold chain. The saber chi disappeared along with her hostility. Your servant has offended you. Xiuxiu returned the saber into nothingness. Sister Xinjie. Wu Xinjie shook her head. Mentally drawing in a breath, this daredevil third brother honestly was able and audacious. The 8 gates black gold chain are formidable, as expected. With today's meeting, your servant is satisfied. Xiuxiu said. Then can we sisters sit and have a friendly chat? Wu Xinjie smiled. The 8 gates black gold chain returned to nothingness. Your servant would be very happy to do so. In the bleak dim of night, the moon appeared like water. A campfire. Xiuxiu roasted a phoenix tail chick, and gave portions to Wu Xinjie and Xiuyuan. The goose feather heavenly wolf lay to side eating the python mammoth. From time to time, it let out satisfied barks towards its mistress. Little sister Xiuxiu, have you always stayed in the white tiger territory? Wu Xinjie asked the question she was most puzzled about. About 2 or 3 years now. The wisdom star tore off a slab of meat, throwing it in her mouth as she thought about it. Don't tell me you're in the white tiger territory to escape the star duels. Xiuyuan said, annoyed. You honor, it is the opposite. Xiuxiu, you must be here for the star duels. Wu Xinjie smiled. More or less something like that. More or less something like that. Xiuxiu chewed on the meat, answering with a mouthful of food. Xiuyuan was somewhat unable to put up with this arbitrarily barbarous elder sister. This is phoenix tail chicken, it can recover your strength. Xiuxiu licked the fat and grease off her finger. It could be imagined how many years she had spent in the white tiger territory. Daredevil third brother probably has constantly used good things like the phoenix tail chicken meat to recover. I don't want you to explain this, why are you here? Not even a person has been seen in the white tiger territory. Xiuyuan looked at the surrounding forest with a stifled feeling in her heart. If she stayed too long here, she might become abnormal like the elder sister in front of her. Things would have to be traced back to that first year when the star duels began. Wisdom Star Daredevil third brother Xiuxiu was suddenly inspired to go train in the white tiger territory that none dared go to use the most dangerous environment to stimulate her own potential. Considering that this was too dangerous, Xiuxiu might as well not have needed a contractor. Afterwards, she wandered her way finally to the white tiger territory. As she expected, danger was everywhere in the white tiger territory. There were every sort of high-level demon beasts as far as the eye could see. Xiuxiu had lost count of the number of times she was put on death's door, this nevertheless made Xiuxiu possess super powerful battle experience. Afterwards, she relied on every sort of precious material in the white tiger territory, and Xiuxiu stayed. Without noticing, this journey had already reached into the end of the third phase. Battling with demon beasts isn't like battling star masters. Xiuyuan retorted. Star Masters, the white tiger territory has those. Xiuxiu grabbed a gourd to drink some clear water. The white tiger territory really does have Star Masters. Wu Xinjie said in a low voice. Xiuxiu lowered her brow, curious, you have seen them? One named Han Bing. Wu Xinjie described her. So it was her. She ought to be the second in terms of strength among the White Tiger's 7 spirit stars. The White Tiger territory's birth treasure outline also seems to be in her hands. Xiuxiu absent-mindedly said. You know her. Little sister Xiuxiu, can you be a bit more detailed? How does the White Tiger territory have star masters, could it be people live here? Wu Xinjie sincerely asked for advice. Xiuxiu did not feel this was a secret. That the White Tiger territory had turned out Star Masters was indeed unprecedented, so telling the other sisters to be on alert was fine, therefore she complied. Not people, just thousand-year-old shape-shifting demons. Xiuxiu narrowed her eyes. Demons? Although she had already prepared her heart, to actually hear this word still made the other two girls shocked. Xiuxiu originally also did not know that the White Tiger territory had Star Masters. Only when that time when more than 20 star cultivators fought over the birth treasure outline did the White Tiger territory show Star Masters. As with Wu Xinjie, this evoked Xiuxiu's curiosity, and in her experience afterwards she also encountered many demon beasts that had shape-shifted into Star Masters. Demon beasts that could transform into a person often were terrifyingly powerful. Xiuxiu's narrow escapes numbered more than 100, but not only was Daredevil third brother not dejected, on the contrary, she had played an abnormal hunting game with these demon beasts in the forests of the White Tiger territory. A pair of transformed demon beasts had died under Xiuxiu's blade over the past couple years. Afterwards, several of the metamorphosed demon beasts contracted with star generals. Xiuxiu's situation became more difficult at once. Several times, she was undoubtedly about to die or be contracted with, but she had encountered a kind-hearted elder sister who let her go. Xiuxiu was thus able to escape a disaster. Other than gratitude for that elder sister who let her go, Xiuxiu's plan to become stronger did not stop. After Evil Smiting Hall, she had the Goose Feather Heavenly Wolf. Now, even if she was to face the White Tiger 7 stars, she could escape from a pincer attack. Wu Xinjie was left dumbstruck. In her mind, she thought that this Daredevil third brother had overdone things indeed, unexpectedly contending against this crowd of demon beasts. No wonder she had reached the extreme realm. The White Tiger 7 spirit stars demon beasts have begun to absorb essence chi ever since the first star duels. Now, 1,000 years have passed and they just so happen to be able to transform into people and can sign contracts. Xiuxiu said. There are surprisingly sisters who are willing to contract with them. Shi Yuan was shocked. And why not? If you didn't see their original appearances, they would be indistinguishable from you and me. Xiuxiu was aloof. What is the significance of these White Tiger 7 spirit stars? Could they be thinking of taking over the 7 stars assembly? Xiuxiu curled her lips into a grin. Wu Xinjie had guessed right. The White Tiger 7 spirit stars, 7 star masters selected using the 7 spirits of metal, wood, water, fire, earth, wind, thunder. Their objective naturally was to usurp all positions of the final 7 stars assembly. As far as your servant knows, other than the fire spirit, the other 6 spirits have already contracted with star generals. Xiuxiu said. Elder sister never thought about it. Shi Yuan asked, somewhat interested. Since Xiuxiu had stayed in the White Tiger territory for so long, was ambivalent to the forms of the White Tiger territory's demon beasts, it would not have been strange for her to sign a contract with one of them. Your servant has already grown accustomed to operating alone. With someone around, your servant actually is uneasy. Xiuxiu wiped her mouth, showing a forthright smile. Little sister Xiuxiu mentioned just now that Han Bing was ranked second among the 7 spirit stars. Can you explain the others? Regarding information about the White Tiger 7 spirit stars, perhaps no one was more accurate than Xiuxiu. After so many years, hovering between life and death, this was not for show. The metal star master is named Xiuxiu, a rather stiff and fussy man. The wood is Xiujiu. Though his appearance is that of a youth, if you meet him, you must not be deceived by them. This Xiujiu's personality is very cruel. The water is Han Bing. Her original body seems to be an ice demon. Anyways, these shape-shifted demons will absolutely not reveal their true bodies unless as a last resort, but she possesses the dual spirits of water and ice. She is the most talented out of the 7, and the birth treasure outline belongs to her. The fire is the only one among the 7 spirit stars who has not signed a contract with a star general, so your servant is not too clear. The Earth Star Master is called Xian Lao. 2. A woman that feels very much like a star general. Your servant was even mistaken one time. Mentioning this topic, Xiuxiu roughly laughed. She once let your servant go, reason being only because your servant had greeted her. Wu Xinjie was speechless, feeling that while she was introducing these people, Xiuxiu quite admired that Xian Lao woman. She wondered if Wisdom Star Daredevil third brother had the idea to sign a contract at that moment. The Wind Star Master is named Sung Feng. He appears to be refined, but his machinations and schemes are very deep. Your servant dislikes him. The last one, Thunder, your servant saw only once and had the others address him as Li Tai Sui, 3, and it was that one time his star general let go of your servant. However, his cultivation is extremely unreachable, already reaching supervoid levels. Supervoid stage. Wu Xinjie and Shi Yuan were shocked. Xiuxiu was not so astonished. Supervoid is nothing. If those demon beasts can release their true bodies, each of them have this level of power. Indeed, shape-shifting could only manifest at supervoid. However, your servant still has one piece of advice to give to you two sisters. If you actually encounter this Li Tai Sui, do not hesitate, run, at least before the 3 heavenly books. Running is not a shame. Wu Xinjie took in a deep breath. The 7 spirit stars has another that has not contracted with a star general. Is that remaining one not actually thinking of capturing elder sister? Shi Yuan curiously asked. Perhaps there is a star general unwilling to sign a contract with Demon Kin, but another form of contract was for the star general to be subdued by the other party through force. There was no choice but to contract then. At that time, even Xiuxiu would perhaps be required to stand beside a contractor, unable to continue her own way. Your servant won't be contracted, and this is also your servant's training. Xiuxiu smiled. Suddenly at this moment, the pitch-black skies blossomed with a 7-colored rainbow light. The 3 girls raised their heads, and the faraway Maiden Mountain abruptly released flying rays of multicolored light in succession. Then, they very quickly faded into the dark night. Maiden Mountain has an abnormality. It wouldn't be because of the White Tiger territory, would it? Xiuxiu was not aware of the inside information and carefreely shrugged her shoulders. Wu Xinjie and Shi Yuan looked at each other in dismay. They immediately knew. Is little sister Xiuxiu not allowed to leave the White Tiger territory? Wu Xinjie asked her. Your servant is already accustomed and has no plans to leave. What is the matter with you? Xiuxiu was curious. We fear that Maiden Mountain's abnormality may be related to our master. We ought to leave. Master? Daredevil third brothers flashed with a slight grimness which immediately alleviated. You both signed contracts. Of course. Shi Yuan said proudly. The goose-feather heavenly wolf straightened its body and bared its fangs. Does little sister regret what happened just now? Wu Xinjie said indifferently. Ha, ha. Xiuxiu smiled, tranquil and calm, hinting to the goose-feather heavenly wolf to be quiet. If we truly star duel, your servant perhaps can only flee in defeat. The wisdom star glanced at Hua Shui, her meaning implying that having stayed so long in the White Tiger territory, she had long had an almost beast-like instinct for danger. The knowledge star and the thief star. You undoubtedly could have taken advantage of your servant's relaxed state just now. Why did you not? Xiuxiu asked back. Because Xinjie likes little sister. Xiuxiu drank water, expressing she did not understand the meaning of her words. We wish to help our young lord induct a sister into the harem. Interesting. Xiuxiu downplayed this, naturally not caring for Wu Xinjie's words. Everyone knew that star masters would need to be grateful to contract too. We should leave. We shall meet again, little sister naturally will understand. Wu Xinjie said. However, before she left, Wu Xinjie discovered a grave question. They had been transported here by an ancient warp array, but now, they completely did not know their whereabouts. Little sister Xiuxiu, if Xiuxiu could be so bold as to ask a question. What question? Xiuxiu closed one eye and half leaned her body. Which way leads to the Azure Dragon territory? After several days, Su Xing finally received Lin Yingmei back home. However, upon seeing the beautiful woman whose every movement had a classical beauty, Su Xing and the others were extremely surprised. Hero star Little Li Guang Hua Wanyue. Hua Wanyue already knew Lin Yingmei's master was Su Xing, and she once had what could be considered a close exchange with him, but to actually see Su Xing, this man that once embraced her, Hua Wanyue's cheeks could not help but flush red. Su Xing first tightly embraced Lin Yingmei. Originally, he had the idea to express his feelings of longing with a hot kiss, but Lin Yingmei was a bit shy, particularly when she had brought back the hero star. Although she did not say things clearly, when they embraced, Lin Yingmei's eyes showed a rare, pitiful light that nevertheless left Su Xing with no choice but to dismiss this idea. Lin Yingmei introduced the sequence of events that led to her acquaintance with Hua Wanyue. This was not the important point, though. That was the Star Masters of the White Tiger territory. Hearing this information, everyone who had only just recovered from shock again could not help but draw in a sharp breath. The White Tiger territory surprisingly has Star Masters. This generation's star duels are truly strange. Zhang Feiyu glanced at Su Xing as she said this, perhaps blaming him. Originally, she thought that she was mentally prepared to face these sisters of this man, but when she saw Lin Yingmei and Hua Wanyue take the stage, Zhang Feiyu's brain truly turned chaotic. Sister Xiuxiu is scouting ruins and tombs. Could she have encountered the White Tiger territory's Star Master? And Suwen's conjecture was very possible. It seemed there was some need to think of a solution. Right, Yingmei. Yuqi, Tang, and also wife, oh. Su Xing individually introduced Zhang Yuqi, Bai Yutang, and Hunyangzi. Because they already knew from the other sisters, the majestic star before them was Su Xing's first star general and the first wife. The three girls did not dare be careless and greeted her as elder sister. Facing the gazes of all the girls and even the attention Wu Xiao cast her way, Lin Yingmei naturally knew that she could not proclaim innocence at this time. Lord husband, thank you for your troubles looking after the little sisters, she bashfully squeezed out a sentence. Lin Yingmei already was flushing a thorough red. All of the girls knowingly smiled. Only one person thoroughly short-circuited, unable to clearly grasp the situation. How are there so many sisters here? Hua Wanyue was dumb as a wooden chicken. The color of her face was the same as everyone else upon first learning that Su Xing was capable of unlimited contracts with star maidens. Hua Wanyue unavoidably had a sort of feeling of absurdity. What was different was that the hero star was never fond of showing her true feelings. This type of inconceivable surprise was hidden, and she immediately was full of doubt. With the remaining time, all of Hua Wanyue's thoughts were on this matter. Have efficacious star and Suwen refine the dragon snake great good fortune pill, Tang Lianxin refine the golden magnetic divine peak that Zhang Yuqi picked up, Tang is about to start brewing a new kind of wine, wait until Wu Xinji comes back before preparing to go to the Bright Moon Longevity Palace. Hua Wanyue is staying in the Immortals' abode tonight. Wait a moment, and the sort, towards these conversations, Hua Wanyue did not pay attention to at all. By the time the curtain of night fell, everyone returned to their respective rooms to rest. Time in the Void Immortals' abode could run parallel to the outside world. Even the most brilliant of star generals required rest to recover their energy, and Su Xing had also built a structure the size of several palaces, arranged for the other girls to live inside, and the result was that Hua Wanyue walked in, still in a confused daze. By the time she sat on a bed, only then did Hua Wanyue notice a question. She still did not know why Lin Yingmei would sign a contract with Su Xing. However, this question had presently turned into how Su Xing was capable of contracting so many star generals. Hua Wanyue tossed and turned in the bed, deciding then that she had better still go ask. Draping herself in a simple and elegant palace dress, she brushed the streams of hair that fell in front of her chest, slightly made herself up, and then Hua Wanyue walked out of her room. She vaguely remembered the position of Lin Yingmei's room. It seemed to be called the first wife's area. First wife? Truly a baffling address. The immortal's abode palace personally designed by Xiuxiu was built entirely from his imagination. The style was extremely strange, unlike the fashionable elegance in Liangshan continent, but with a sort of unconventional beauty. Each brick, each detail was rectangular, very meticulous. Due to everyone toiling arduously the whole day, they were all tired. The palace was very quiet, and only the sounds of Hua Wanyue's shuffling footsteps were heard. Hua Wanyue's brows wrinkled. She probably did not like to hear herself let out any sounds. Her pace gradually became more nimble, like a graceful cat. After several turns, she caught sight of a room of icy and snowy stars. This place was Lin Yingmei's room. Weak moans suddenly entered Hua Wanyue's ear. Delicate as a reed. Hua Wanyue was startled. She felt that these sounds were quite abnormal. Listening closely, they surprisingly were Lin Yingmei's groans. Those cries were extremely weak yet could not escape Hua Wanyue's ears. This voice contained something odd. She could faintly hear the sound of a man laughing. What is happening? Hua Wanyue worried Lin Yingmei was being bullied by Xiuxiu. She immediately tensed her body and rushed several steps into the room. And then, Hua Wanyue's heart completely stopped. The hero star was like her star name. Every one of her movements carried a knightly and heroic air, and her womanly qualities of nobility and grandeur made her appear like a princess, too high to reach. If it had to be said who among Maiden Mountain's 108-star maidens was most entitled to the elegance of royalty, this was not Lu Junyi or Wu Song, but the delicate fingers pluck bowstring, mind bright as arrows, hero star Hua Wanyue fully deserved it. But even so, the scene her eyes saw before her made Hua Wanyue dumbstruck. This indeed was Lin Yingmei's quarters, no mistake. There was a large velvet and ivory bed, but this bed was not the important thing. She saw a man and woman currently use a shameless position to embrace each other. This pair's bodies were absolutely threadbare, shamelessly naked. The flickering lights of the night lanterns adorning the room danced on their tightly embraced bodies. Hua Wanyue would never have seen such a passionate scene even in her dreams. This pair naturally was Xiuxiu and Lin Yingmei. Lin Yingmei currently was being held by Xiuxiu from the front. Those slender jade thighs were clamped around his waist, her jade arms wrapped around Xiuxiu's neck, making her body completely stick to Xiuxiu's body. Lin Yingmei's gaze was unfocused. Those red lips let out repressed yet happy pants. Her soft as a reed moans originated from here, and Xiuxiu's hands currently kneaded Lin Yingmei's full and round butt, shaking her up and down, entering and leaving the most beautiful hidden valley in this world, her erotic scene completely visible. 2. Just as Xiuxiu lowered his head to whisper into Lin Yingmei's ear the pining for her he held this month, Lin Yingmei went limp. Suddenly, Xiuxiu stopped his waist's assault. The Lin Yingmei who was intoxicated on boundless emotions automatically shook her hips herself. Dear husband, Lin Yingmei's unfocused gaze saw Xiuxiu's wide-eyed speechlessness, his surprise. Lin Yingmei felt Xiuxiu's whole body begin to stiffen, his posture as if trouble loomed. Suddenly, she was about to reach her climax. Lin Yingmei was a top-notch martial general. She very quickly roused from her lust and noticed something wrong with Xiuxiu. This excitement came unavoidably too intensely. She forcibly suppressed her soft moans, and out of the corner of her eye, Lin Yingmei suddenly caught sight of a graceful figure. Lin Yingmei had never thought even in her dreams that anyone would be so brazen in the void immortal's abode. She turned her head to look and nearly screamed. A bucket of ice water was poured on her, completely extinguishing the fiery passion she had. Numbly flashing away, she left Xiuxiu, flashing onto the bed and using the silk covers to conceal her immaculate body. Wifey, don't go. The moment Lin Yingmei left, Xiuxiu was done for. Just then, he exploded. The little Xiuxiu down there immediately was exposed to icy cold air after emerging from a hot and tight orifice. The two types of stimulus made Xiuxiu quiver. Unable to control his own body, a white light shot out like an arrow directly towards Hua Wanyue. Hua Wanyu stared dumbfounded at the naked Xiuxiu, in particular at that sinister weapon that was like a sword unsheathed. After Hua Wanyue's heart stopped, her brain also stopped thinking. Hua. 3. A white ray of light flew through the air. Hua Wanyue subconsciously raised her hand to block, to catch this paste. Hua Wanyue immediately realized what this was. Her face changed, but the first time she saw Lin Yingmei's naked intimacy seemed to have struck Hua Wanyue dumb. The hero star completely lost her normal swiftness and reactions. Spurt after white spurt flashed by in succession, like a surging waterfall. Just like a tidal wave, how could her fingers block this? Hua Wanyue wrinkled her brows and shut her eyes. Her satiny cheeks were immediately moistened by this sticky stuff. When each thread of the liquid drifted across her face that was akin to a work of art, Hua Wanyue's mind short-circuited. Her fine black hairs that were somewhat in a mess met with a perfectly infuriating blasphemy. The entire explosion sequence was a lengthy narration, but it occurred in the blink of an eye. 100 billion little Xiuxius were on Hua Wanyue's lips, cheeks, hair, and body, making intimate contact. Even the always brazen Xiuxiu was tempted to go find some rope to hang himself with when he saw this scene. Wanyue. Lin Yingmei panicked as well. Hua Wanyue fell onto the ground like a statue, surprisingly fainting. 5. Ah. In spite of Lin Yingmei's erotic appearance, she dashed forward. The Xiuxiu who finished firing had a sort of unprecedented calm. He sat paralyzed on the bed, panting. Lin Yingmei turned her head back to look at Xiuxiu sitting with his spear still erect. Her face turned even redder. Wifey, I'm screwed. Xiuxiu was grim. Your servant shall accompany young master. Lin Yingmei was also embarrassed to death. Maybe it'd be better if I signed a contract with Hua Wanyue right now. This way it won't be as awkward. Xiuxiu could imagine the scene of Hua Wanyue waking up, which perhaps would be the end of the world. Lin Yingmei nodded. This perhaps was the best solution. Seeing that milky white filth on Hua Wanyue's face, Lin Yingmei carefully wiped her clean. Recalling that her own shameless actions had been completely seen, Lin Yingmei was embarrassed enough to die. In her heart, she hoped even more that Hua Wanyue could sign a contract with Xiuxiu and become her sister. It was said that star maidens do not dream. Beginning the very moment they descended from Maiden Mountain, they were existences whose whole lives were solely for the star duels, and superfluous things like dreams were indeed meaningless in regards to the star duels. However, hero star Hua Wanyue had never hoped so much to get through her own dream just now. In her dream, the Lin Yingmei she admired was using a shameful position to be pandered upon by Xiuxiu, their nakedness making Hua Wanyue's heart and world crumble together. In her dream, an indescribably dubious and vile fluid hit her in the face. In her dream, her shattered system of values was unable to withstand this. In her dream, she finally awoke. Hua Wanyue slowly opened her eyes. Her head hurt terribly, so painfully she wanted to die. In her muddle-headed state, her recollection slowly cleared. Hua Wanyue subconsciously felt her face, which was glossy without foreign objects. A dream? Hua Wanyue lowered head and looked. She was completely laying on a bed. It appeared that she was safe and sound, as if everything just now had been just a dream. Was that a dream? Hua Wanyue looked at her pure white palm, suddenly clenching it tightly. She coldly grunted, and she aggressively got off the bed. Did that man think he could pretend everything was a vulgar dream and that nothing had ever happened? This was practically insulting her as the hero star. Wanyue, are you up? She had just arrived at the living room when Hua Wanyue stopped. In the living room, Xiuxiu and Lin Yingmei were currently sitting upright. Seeing Hua Wanyue had awoken, Xiuxiu had steeped a kettle of red robe tea. Hua Wanyue's gaze practically wanted to kill someone. The red jade star-splitting short spear appeared in her hand, and Lin Yingmei immediately stood up, pointing the Arctic Star Serpent Star spear straight at Hua Wanyue. Mercilessly yet without any killing intent. Xiuxiu pushed aside the spear in front of him, casting an easy glance at Lin Yingmei. You defiled me. What should I do with you, what say you? Hua Wanyu coldly said, her attitude very unyielding. However, in Xiuxiu's eyes, this appeared even more like she was concealing her embarrassment. How about we sign a contract? Xiuxiu thickened his skin and raised a suggestion. In all the world, is there such a good thing? Hua Wanyue's short spear drew slightly closer, emitting a bubbling bloody light, somewhat dreadful. Xiuxiu was helpless, of course there isn't. And that is why young master did not forcibly sign a contract with you while you were dazed, Wanyue. Lin Yingmei interjected. Hua Wanyue was taken aback. She stared at Xiuxiu, and then she suddenly remembered the scene inside Evil Smiting Hall. At that time, although this man took advantage of when she was weak, he indeed did not force a contract. At that time, Hua Wanyue thought that Xiuxiu somewhat could not. His energy was practically vigorous like a beast's, no, unlike a beast's. Her heart made an assertion. Hua Wanyue's killing intent abated slightly, yet the red jade star-splitting short spear did not relax. Yingmei, what were you doing with him just now? Is this really you? Or is he forcing you? Hua Wanyue could not believe even her own words. No one in the world could coerce the majestic star. Xiuxiu chuckled. What are you laughing at? Xiuxiu remembered that Wu Xiu seemed to have originally said something similar, wifey, you have so much charm. Lin Yingmei was bewildered at Xiuxiu's words. She looked at Hua Wanyue's menacing short spear, furrowing her brow. Wanyue, can you set your weapon down? You have made me very disappointed, that you surprisingly would do that sort of shameless thing. Hua Wanyue was slightly indignant. How can this be called shameless between a husband and wife? This is only natural. Xiuxiu retorted. If you care about Yingmei, then you should know what the star nest means. Hua Wanyue shouted. These words left Xiuxiu speechless. In fact, Xiuxiu had thought about this already, but at that time, they were passionate to the depths, which was not something a star nest could put an end to. I won't let anything happen to Yingmei. Xiuxiu heroically said. Wanyue, please put down the short spear. Lin Yingmei's tone was upset, unable to put up with Hua Wanyue pointing her weapon at her master. Hua Wanyue hesitated before still putting away her short spear. Alright, sorry, that thing just now was very offensive, but I am indeed shameless. Xiuxiu put his palms together and prudently apologized. It was fine if he did not mention this. The moment he did, Hua Wanyue's shoulders trembled in fury. Shut up, I really want to kill you right now. Hua Wanyue's eyes were enraged. As you should be. Xiuxiu nodded. Because this matter was caused by your servant is very sorry to have allowed Wanyue to be injured, but even if your servant must sacrifice her life, she will protect young master. Lin Yingmei's words left no room. Hua Wanyue glanced profoundly at Lin Yingmei but did not respond to her determination. However, she then said to Xiuxiu, I am not one who forgets favors and violates justice. I owe you a favor. I hear that you want to go to the Bright Moon Longevity Palace. After the Longevity Palace, you and I will make a clean break. The star duels are life and death. Every word the hero star said was more firm than steel, also leaving no leeway. I actually would rather those feelings make this thing end. Xiuxiu muttered. Hua Wanyue's face turned a thorough red, and she trembled in anger, shameless. She resentfully flung open the doors of the palace. Wanyue, this is your room. I will not stay in this disgusting place. To stay a moment longer, Hua Wanyue wanted to vomit. Xiuxiu felt the space of the void immortal's abode distort. Hero star Hua Wanyue clearly already left. Oh, no. Lin Yingmei's tenacious appearance immediately sighed in regret. She remorsefully looked at Xiuxiu. Apologies, young master. Your servant admires Wanyue very much and had hoped she could lend young master a helping hand. Your servant never thought this would happen. It's not your fault. Xiuxiu smiled. He stepped forward and brought Lin Yingmei in against his chest. Actually, things aren't so bad. Does young master have a solution? Lin Yingmei asked. Not for the time being. Everything will be all right. Xiuxiu's hands hugged Lin Yingmei's supple butt, again beginning his misbehaving restlessness. 2. Young master. A flush of red flew across Lin Yingmei's face. Wifey, you still haven't come yet. Xiuxiu chuckled. With a bit of strength, he carried Lin Yingmei onto the table. Lin Yingmei stifled her breathing, and her clothes flew off in succession. Xiuxiu snapped his fingers. The doors shut tightly, and an array activated. The pair had not been passionate for a very long time, and the feelings they held deep in their hearts had been contained for so long. Having been interrupted by Hua Wanyue just now, they had not enjoyed themselves to the fullest extent, and now that Hua Wanyue's matters were settled more peacefully than he had imagined, Xiuxiu was inevitably drawn in. He untied her snow-winged cicada bodice, kissed those perfect mountains. On, woo, Lin Yingmei very quickly moaned, forgetting everything. The candle flames died out. Tonight, they were inseparable in love. Hua Wanyue did not stray too far from the immortal's abode at all when she left. She sat directly on a mountaintop nearby and stared at the bright moon above her. She took out a painting and looked at it, spellbound. Compared to the profaneness that she met just now, Hua Wanyue actually was more reluctant to accept Lin Yingmei and Xiuxiu's relationship. She truly was unable to accept it. That is a very beautiful portrait, a voice suddenly appeared beside her. Hua Wanyue knew who it was without even looking. Wu Xiu. Hua Wanyue, you appear to be unhappy. Wu Xiu stand not too far away, gazing at the moonlight. You already knew about Yingmei and Xiuxiu's relationship. Wu Xiu confirmed, N. I truly do not understand why you all would renounce your reputations as thousand-year star generals. Hua Wanyue coldly said. Renounce, we do not need a reason why. Wu Xiu indifferently answered. Truly very good logic. Hua Wanyue stood up. She looked at the painting in her hands. Killing intent directly shredded this painting. Everything was shredded. What a pity. Wu Xiu said. Yes, what a pity, Hua Wanyue softly muttered to herself. White Tiger territory. 2 bolts of escape light quickly flew past, startling countless beasts into panicked cries. The White Tiger territory was increasingly dangerous the deeper one probed into the territory, and flight in the White Tiger territory was practically the same as bringing about one's own doom. However, those 2 escape lights were completely ignored, and they flew in a straight line unopposed. In the center of the White Tiger territory was a giant triangular palace. 3. Its surroundings were full of countless demon beast statues. The escape light descended. 2 figures were revealed. They were none other than Sung Feng and Xiuxiu. Continuously flying made the 2 appear to have very sorry figures and be very downcast. Tai Gong. On the highest platform of the palace, Sung Feng and Xiuxiu respectfully called out. The gates opened, and an old man walked out. That old man's back was stooped. He narrowed his eyes, his face full of wrinkles. In his hand was a paper fan. Although he appeared very aged, Sung Feng and Xiuxiu did not dare slight him. A calm woman lent her arm to support the old man, slowly walking forth. That woman appeared very beautiful, wearing a blue and white robe. Her long hair fell freely over her shoulders. What was particularly noteworthy was a blue birthmark over the area of her left eye. This blue birthmark appeared to be like a beautiful butterfly, not only not making the woman appear ugly, but on the contrary, she brimmed even more with a sort of unusual beauty. The woman had a beautiful name, Zijin. 5. The Zijin of Disciples Dressed in Blue. 6. Upon seeing her, the pupils of Sung Feng and Xiuxiu contracted. You have returned. And Xiuxiu. The old man spoke, his voice very aged yet full of a certain heaviness. Li Taigong, 7, Xiuxiu has died. This old man was precisely the most powerful of the White Tiger 7 spirit stars, grandfatherly, eh? His eyes narrowed even more. Tell everything. As you wish. After hearing the entire sequence of events, grandfatherly chuckled, waving the fan. The majestic star and hero star working together. You were too rash. These types of star generals perhaps would fight to the death without signing contracts. Grandfather, what do we do next? Without fire, our 7 spirit stars is not complete. The treasure banquet is on the verge of beginning, and it seems we will be unable to reach it in time. Zhang Feng deferentially inquired. Just as Xiuxiu said, the White Tiger Territory's 7 spirit stars formed an alliance to summit Maiden Mountain with metal, wood, water, fire, earth, wind, and thunder. These 7 spirits complemented each other with wonderful effect. But Xiuxiu had died, and now they lacked fire. We must take revenge for brother Xiuxiu, kill the hero star and majestic star. Xiujiu coldly said. His personality was arrogant. Death cannot wipe out his crimes. The woman faintly said. What Zijin said is very true. Xiuxiu was too impatient. In the star duels, he could only have ever become a pedestal for others. Dying is fine. Li Taigong chuckled. Blame Xiuxiu's stupidity. After he killed touching the sky Du Qian, falling like this, he has only himself to blame. The pair could not easily refute him and could only nod. But what about fire? We shall find some other fire spirit companion. Li Taigong was amiably looking. Then the final star general. Does Taigong have an idea? Zhang Feng deferentially asked. This actually will not do. Does the White Tiger Territory not also have a wisdom star Daredevil third brother? Xiujiu sneered. She has run rampant in the White Tiger Territory for so long, we ought to make her pay a little bit of something as compensation. Zijin, your thoughts? Li Taigong asked, intentionally or otherwise. Senior can decide. Zijin will naturally strive to the utmost of her capabilities. The woman calmly replied. Li Taigong smiled, saying nothing more. Hua Wanhua looked at the pile of scraps in her hand, lost in thought. Blaming herself for being too impulsive last night, the painting that sacred-handed scholar Shao Qingyan had painted of her and Lin Yingmei was shredded to pieces. Now that she had calmed down, she felt a bit vexed. Any way it was put, this painting the literature star personally drafted was quite valuable. Hua Wanhua tried to glue the pieces together, but upon seeing that white sticky fluid, her heart was ineffably disgusted. Flinging away these vile thoughts, Hua Wanhua gazed at the pieces in her hands unable to find a solution. Even if the hero star saw things clearly, she was at wit's end against these tiny shreds. Want a drink? A jade bottle was placed in front of her. Hua Wanhua raised her head. When she saw it was Xiuxiu, her expression turned disgusted. This is the worry-free without a care that Tang Tang brewed. Xiuxiu smiled. Hua Wanhua bluntly drank, not wanting to waste even a word on this man. Xiuxiu did not take offense to her attitude at all. On the contrary, he already quite admired her for being able to recover from such a censored scene. A painting of Yingmei? Why is it in pieces? Xiuxiu looked at the debris on the table, and he regretfully sighed. How did you know? Hua Wanhua was astonished. That pile was in complete disarray. Even she could not begin to tell what it would have been at first glance. What were this man's eyes? I'm too familiar with Yingmei. It's painted so wonderfully, why is it torn up? Xiuxiu sized up these scraps, do you mind if I piece them together? Xiuxiu's answer of, too familiar, made Hua Wanhua very easily recall last night's erotic scene. She coldly snorted. Originally, she wanted to refuse, but indeed, she was curious about Xiuxiu's words. She icily said, try if you so wish. Xiuxiu first arranged all of the pieces. Although they were very shredded, the skill of the painter was extremely profound. Just several of the details he saw could have come to life at any moment. In his mind, Xiuxiu immediately opened a picture. When he was in the army, Xiuxiu often played with picture puzzles in his free time. From jigsaw puzzles to firearms, even to his airplanes, he had practiced assembling them. He was not called a trump card for nothing. Xiuxiu had used several dozen minutes to finish a 5,000-piece puzzle, so these pieces were well within his grasp. Seeing Xiuxiu assemble the pieces with great familiarity, Hua Wanyue was still disdainful. She looked around at the surroundings. Not seeing Lin Yingmei, she then asked, "Why has Lin Yingmei not come out?" "She's too tired from last night. Right now, she's still resting." Xiuxiu pondered as he put the pieces together. Too tired? Hua Wanyue suddenly understood his meaning. Her face flushed, but her words cooled. "What, could it be that you two joined together again last night? Yingmei and I have been apart for more than a month. Can't I have even just one night with her?" Xiuxiu stroked his chin, replying as he wished. His mind was completely on these shreds. "This bastard, he is surprisingly not ashamed that he blasphemed me last night, and he surprisingly fooled around again afterwards." Hua Wanyue's heart was somewhat indignant. "How many times have you done it?" "Oh, more than a dozen." Only after Xiuxiu finished answering did he feel that the atmosphere was awkward. The person in front of him was Hua Wanyue, not his wife Wu Xinjie. Ahem. Xiuxiu awkwardly grinned, then lowered his head to play with the jigsaw puzzle. Filthy beast. Hua Wanyue cursed him. Xiuxiu was somewhat innocent, for he had trained in dual cultivation. In the 5 dragons colored glass lantern, he comprehended even more of the Happiness Wonderful Chan Sutra, and after a few improvements, each of their dual cultivations were even more beneficial. However, this led to Xiuxiu's inherent lust becoming inflamed, burning his body. Back on topic, if it was not for Lin Yingmei being extremely delighted to pander to him, he probably would need more than double a dozen times. From one aspect, Xiuxiu indeed was a beast. Wanyue, thinking like this is wrong. Xiuxiu felt the need to correct Hua Wanyue's naive notions. Hua Wanyue did not say anything. She had an expression that said, "What kind of fangs can you produce?" Xiuxiu thickened his skin and said, "Because you feel this is a star dual covenant, you feel this is improper. However, as far as Yingmei and I are concerned, things haven't been as simple as a contract for a long time." Humph. Hua Wanyue refused to comment. "I see Yingmei as my wife, and Yingmei sees me as her husband. Wanyue, if you can find such a man one day, you'll understand. Dream on, no man should ever think of touching me." Xiuxiu shrugged his shoulders, focusing on piecing together the painting. After a long while, the design was already taking shape. "How many sisters have you dual cultivated with?" Hua Wanyue was like a curious cat, noble yet intrigued by this. "Yingmei, Xinjie, and wife." He did not mention his escapades with the other girls. Hua Wanyue was shocked. This bastard unexpectedly bedded 3 of the sisters. The girl's heart was thoroughly flustered, but this type of mutual consent affair was not so easy to criticize. She could only keep this to herself and not say anything more to Xiuxiu, so as to avoid being unable to hold back wanting to kill him. After a while, Hua Wanyue's ice-cold expression slowly melted like snow after the first spring. She could not help but be drawn in by Xiuxiu's face concentrating on the puzzle. If she were to abandon prejudice, Hua Wanyue acknowledged this man was not really so loathsome. Back then at Evil Smiting Hall, he had the chance and the qualifications to become Hua Wanyue's master. Thinking carefully, Hua Wanyue could not possibly sign a contract with any other man. "Wanyue, your portrait with Yingmei is pretty good." Xiuxiu's voice interrupted Hua Wanyue's imagination. "What?" Hua Wanyue did not come to her senses. Her red lips slightly parted, and she showed astonishment. That originally terrible mess of paper had unbelievably been restored to its original picture under Xiuxiu's hand. The portrait of her and Lin Yingmei appeared in completeness. Xiuxiu praised it. "Who drew it? The skill is so amazing." You surprisingly put it together so quickly. Xiuxiu's finger tapped it, manifesting a golden light that wove in between the cracks, erasing the adhesive. The portrait was perfectly restored. Take it, this is the proof of your friendship with Ingmei. If you destroyed it because of me, that's too pitiful. Xiuxiu's words had a double meaning. I will not thank you. Hua Wanyue put on a poker face. No matter what, it was all because of this man that she would destroy the painting. And I don't want you to thank me. Now that you're done being impulsive when talking, then let's forget about the life and death star duels you mentioned last night. Xiuxiu said in passing. In the future, if you truly star duel against me, you will completely lack any chance of victory, and you will hurt Ingmei's heart, which also hurts your servant. Hua Wanyue's brows knit tightly together. Just as she was about to reply, the immortal's abode shifted with ripples. Two charming beauties walked in. Xinjie, you honor. The moment Xiuxiu saw them, he happily threw himself over. The Hua Wanyue who had been so nonchalantly ditched was very angry. She saw Xiuxiu and Wu Xinjie and Shi Yuan embrace and kiss passionately in front of everyone, very, very sweet to one another. Hua Wanyue watched Xiuxiu introduce Zhang Yuqi and the other two ladies to them. Then, Xiuxiu walked towards her again. This is little Li Guang Hua Wanyue. Xiuxiu introduced. Wu Xinjie covered her mouth in surprise. Young lord, you surprisingly even took little sister Hero Star into your harem? How could I possibly be so frivolous, to become a member of his harem? Hua Wanyue coldly made the facts clear. I received Ingmei's invitation to come, and I owe him a favor for Evil Smiting Hall. I will star duel with him after the Bright Moon Longevity Palace. Wu Xinjie blinked, perceptively sensing something subtle about their atmosphere. It's a long story, a tiny, little misunderstanding. Xiuxiu diffidently said. Little misunderstanding? Spraying that filthy thing onto her face was only a tiny, little misunderstanding? If it was not for Hua Wanyue having already recovered, she would have become hostile on the spot. How would she have pretended nothing had happened? Wu Xinjie profoundly smiled. Since the Knowledge Star has already returned, ought not we go to the Longevity Palace right now? Hua Wanyue gracefully drank the wine. No rush, no rush. Xinjie and Yuan are worn out from so many days, they need at least one night of rest. Xiuxiu said. Is it actually rest? Will she not be too tired? Like Ingmei is? Hua Wanyue sneered. What's the matter with Sister Ingmei? Shi Yuan was curious. Wu Xinjie whispered into her ear. The thief star's face was red as a tomato, her heart squirming. Wanyue, there is no need to worry about this one day. Wu Xinjie wrapped herself around Xiuxiu's arm, her position intimate. She moved close to Xiuxiu's ear and softly whispered a few words. Wu Xinjie's cheeks were rouge. Clearly, she was amorous. Wu Xinjie and Xiuxiu then walked into their room, talking and laughing along the way. Even from far away, Hua Wanyue seemed to hear them. Young lord, tonight, Xinjie will pull an Ingmei and Nyangzi to service young lord together. 3. This man, sure enough, was guilty of terrible crimes, full of extreme evil. He must die. Hua Wanyue drank down another cup, lost in drunken vexation. Azure Dragon Territory, Jade Clarity Main Hall. At this moment, there were secret negotiations that could not be divulged. The one in charge of this conference was none other than the Clear Void Most High Path's 4 Great Supervoid Ancestral Master Nangong Xing. The ones sitting were the headmasters of each of the Alliance of 10. The scene was a little familiar, as if Envious of the East had once presided over this meeting, but afterwards, Envious of the East had thoroughly disappeared. But Nangong Xing nevertheless did not care. Headmasters, you all ought to know the Purple Thunder Monster. Now that the 4th Phase 3 Heavenly Books is already about to begin, we will find it difficult to contend against the Purple Thunder Monster in the future. Could it be said that the Azure Dragon Territory's Grand 10 Great Sects are to become jokes to that Purple Thunder Monster that came from who knows where? Are you capable of accepting this? Despite that Nangong Xing was a woman, every word she spoke pierced their hearts. Combined with her supervoid cultivator dignity, the other headmasters each were more docile than a lamb. Jade Qilin has said, the Purple Thunder monster has possibly contracted Wu Song, Lin Chong, Gong Sun Sheng and other first-rate star generals. The one who spoke was Ancestor Longevity. A hubbub of comments resounded in the chamber. Just what is the background of that Purple Thunder monster? Could it be not one of us fellows knows the details? This time, the headmaster of the Blooming Water Sword sect spoke. Yes, could he have so many star generals? And they are all first-rate star generals. This matter cannot be neglected. Nangong Xing sneered. She stuck out 4 fingers. There are 4 points to kill the Purple Thunder monster. Senior, please speak. Regardless of fact or fiction, the Purple Thunder monster has already incurred the vengeance of our alliance of 10. If it is true, then this is indeed problematic, but it is perfect for our disciples to obtain fame and prestige. Otherwise, fellows can imagine, for one who possesses so many star generals, do the star masters we nurtured have any room in the 7 stars assembly? This is the first, the 3 heavenly books is the final stage for star generals. Before this, even if they are first-rate star generals, if we can bring out all our power, we can still go into battle. We absolutely cannot miss this chance. This is the second. The Crystal Dragon Palace's treasure banquet is about to begin. That Purple Thunder monster has killed our sect's elders and masters, obtained countless treasures. He even has the 10,000-year evil-suppressing gem bamboo. If we can kill him, everyone will get a share. At that time, we can be both impressive and celebrated at the banquet. Why not be merry, then? This is the third. Fourth, he must die. He must die. Nangong Xing mercilessly said. All of the 10 great sect headmasters present stared at one another in dismay, not daring to utter a word. They could discern that the Most High Path already could not coexist with the Purple Thunder monster. However, back to the topic at hand, Nangong Xing's 4 reasons characterized all of their feelings. Regardless of the perspective, this Purple Thunder monster from who knows where was the Azure Dragon Territory's #1 scourge. The Alliance of 10 has not been convened for too long. If this monster is not destroyed, what face door our Azure Dragon 10 great sects even have? Ancestor Longevity saw an opportunity to speak. But the whereabouts of the Purple Thunder monster are a mystery. There is no need to ponder. The reason why all headmasters were summoned here was because there is credible information that the Purple Thunder monster will appear at the Bright Moon Longevity Palace's ruins. Will we not provoke Maiden Mountain by confronting the Purple Thunder monster? The Purple Thunder monster offended us first. He has only himself to blame. Now, this ancestor asks that everyone decide the Purple Thunder monster's fate. Nangong Xing carefreely toasted a glass, leisurely drinking. With the conversation at this point, all of the headmasters naturally knew what decision to make. Let alone that although what Nangong Xing said was extreme, it was nevertheless true. The Purple Thunder monster already made the Alliance of 10 lose much face. If they shrunk back now, they would be ridiculed. But the Heavenly Ice Holy Palace and he have no enmity. The Heavenly Ice Holy Palace's headmaster wrinkled her brow, as if she did not want to wade into these murky waters. For Headmaster Heavenly Ice to say this is a mistake. We already are not under a situation of every sect for itself. Rather, the Alliance of 10 must unite all of the Azure Dragon territory. Could it be that just because of one person's wish that we must cower, are you not afraid of suffering ridicule? Ancestor Longevity smiled. As with before, Headmaster Heavenly Ice could not so easily disagree. Good, then it is settled. Nangong Xing nodded. However, this ancestor shall still remind everyone to be extremely careful when facing the Purple Thunder monster. He possesses multiple first-rate star generals. This time, we must stake all of our power. If each of the sects can dispatch a supervoid cultivator, that would be excellent. The stronger we are, the greater our chance of success. Do not be on the contrary when the time comes, or the gains will not make up for the losses. Her voice passed through the entire place, Fairy Nangong, as you say. Everyone wiped their sweat, their hearts secretly disparaging her. To each send a supervoid cultivator, was this even possible? Their great sects had one top-notch ancestral master in seclusion, and for something as mundane as this, why would a supervoid ancestral master even bother? At that time, everyone that can kill a first-rate star general can spread their fame far and wide, leave a reputation that lasts hundreds of lifetimes. Fellows, a drink first then. Nangong Xing recovered her dignified smile. All of the headmasters grasped a goblet and toasted their alliance. Great Liang Dynasty. Zhao Hanyan put away the purple smoke-confusing sky lantern, ending a day of cultivation. Now, her cultivation was already stuck at the supercluster peak bottleneck. She was only a step away from super void, but this one step was so difficult. Zhao Hanyan several times had returned with no success. It seemed she could only rely on the 1,000-year tears. Junqing, has the appointed time with Su Xing come? Zhao Hanyan asked the female general laying on the bed. In 2 days. Dong Junqing answered. This princess wonders if the Bright Moon Longevity Palace contains the tears of Vega or not. If it does not, what do we do then? Zhao Hanyan propped her cheeks against her hands. Princess Highness had best look forward to that place containing some, otherwise, Princess and he will only destroy each other in the future. Dong Junqing warned. Zhao Hanyan nodded. What she said was true. However, on the other hand, the Bright Moon Palace has never had anyone decipher its theory. Princess Highness, are you so confident he can? Dong Junqing asked. He is the man this princess fancies. Despite Su Xing's conduct, even you should know, Junqing. If only. Dong Junqing had long itched to undo that 1,000-year intertwined branch. Zhao Hanyan chose her clothes for the day when at this moment, she received the report of a maid. Emperor Liang was requesting for her. Zhao Hanyan felt this was odd and felt it best to make her way to his study together with Dong Junqing. Emperor Liang's back was turned towards the door. He was currently looking out the window at the sky-supporting pillar on the horizon, Maiden Mountain. That wide back seemed tiny, and the face of this man who aspired for the throne of the Azure Dragon faced the giant mountain. His ambitions also seemed so powerless. Father Emperor. You have come, Hanyan. Emperor Liang turned around. Father Emperor, what is the matter? Zhao Hanyan asked. Are the 1,000-year tears of Empress Hua finished? I have already made the medicine master refine the 1,000-year tears of Empress Hua. Now, it seems that the perfectly refined 1,000-year tears are not something so simple, as expected. Emperor Liang wore a careful expression. Zhao Hanyan was not surprised at all. Are you preparing to go to the Bright Moon Longevity Palace? Emperor Liang asked her. The Bright Moon Longevity Palace's enormous ruins were under the imperial family's jurisdiction. Zhao Hanyan knew that she could not hide from her father. Hanyan is prepared to go with the man she mentioned to Father Emperor. The Purple Thunder Monster. Emperor Liang warmly said, we now have an urgent matter that requires you to go settle. Is it possible to temporarily set aside your prior appointment with the Purple Thunder Monster? At this time. What can daughter do? Zhao Hanyan was confused. Your cultivation should be at the supercluster peak bottleneck. Father Emperor wants you to go to the Kunlun Immortal Mountains to see one of Father Emperor's old friends, Queen Mother of West Luan. She is a medicine refinement sect master. The immortal tears of Kunlun were refined by her, and only she can help you with the 1,000-year tears now. Can daughter not change the time? Daughter has already agreed to Su Xing. Zhao Hanyan was in a difficult situation. Queen Mother of West Luan has always been in seclusion. Very rarely does she see guests. It was very difficult for us to convince her this time. Hanyan, could it be that you would miss this chance for an appointment? Emperor Liang very confidently smiled. Zhao Hanyan still hesitated. Do not delay. Go now. If you are late by a second, she will seclude herself and not see you. Emperor Liang did not allow her to think. As for your appointment with Su Xing, we will dispatch someone to inform him. If he truly loves you, he will understand. Princess Highness, do not think any more about this. Dong Junqing advised her. She completely should not have had to think to decide about such a good thing. She had time to go see the Bright Moon Longevity Palace with Su Xing, but to receive the refined medicine of Queen Mother of West Luan was to be conferred, not sought. Han Yen obeys. Emperor Liang slightly smiled. For these star duels, you must not make us disappointed. Out of all your siblings, there is only you, Han Yen. Emperor Liang showed great expectations. Daughter understands. There was no time to lose. Zhao Hanyan and Dong Junqing took their leave of Emperor Liang and flew directly towards the Azure Dragon territories southwest. Dispatch a messenger to inform Su Xing. Just say that the Ling Yan princess has matters to attend to that she cannot free herself of, a change in date is needed. Emperor Liang ordered. Immediately afterwards, he strode to the window, gazed at that distant mountain and muttered to himself, Are you sent by Maiden Mountain, or aren't you? Just let us see then. Su Xing. 3. Su Xing sneezed. It seems that someone was thinking about him. Young lord, did you catch a cold from last night? Wu Xinjie asked with concern. Maybe. It was somewhat unavoidable for peculiarities after an entire night of nakedness. Big brother, for you. Efficacious Star and Suwen poured a cup of medicine. Thanks, little sister. Su Xing drank it in a gulp, and his heart greatly calmed. At this moment, everyone was currently on the earthly fiend astral treasure, heavenly river star riding boat, that Tang Lianxin specially refined. The scale at which Su Xing was weighed down by mouths to feed was absolutely jaw-dropping. The star boat had all kinds of cool and elegant sisters to the innocent Lolas, all sorts, all kinds, and carefully counting, there were surprisingly more than 14 people other than Su Xing. Fortunately, they were currently high in the sky, otherwise, anyone who saw these 14, minus Xiuxiu, were entirely Liangshan continent's renowned star generals would be perhaps scared witless. Great Circle Castle. When Chai Ling saw such a huge formation, the high and mighty Her Majesty the Queen was dumbstruck. Noble star Little Whirlwind regained her senses with much difficulty, one hand hugging her cat, the other opening her fan to cover her red lips. Xinger, you truly make this palace surprised. Ha, ha. Su Xing smiled. All of the girls greeted her. Seeing hero star Little Li Guang, Chai Ling was somewhat astonished. Hua Wanyue, when did you enter this man's harem? I owe him a favor. After this Bright Moon Longevity Palace, he and I will not stand together. As if making clear her position, that phrase of not standing together was particularly heavy. Chai Ling gently laughed. She was like Lin Yingmei and the rest, completely only feeling that Hua Wanyue could not besmirch the face of the hero star. 5. Entering the Great Circle Castle, the beauties were like clouds. This was the first time since the beginning of the Great Circle Castle that it welcomed 13 sisters. Any way it was put, Chai Ling was to prepare a lavish feast. At the banquet, everyone chatted. The meaning of sister star maidens gushed forth, each recounting their own events in the star duels, but as they spoke, the girls very quickly fell silent. Because they only had records of the star duels from the moment of their birth, they did not know a single thing before this, which made the banquet's atmosphere a bit somber. You'll understand when we ascend Maiden Mountain. Su Xing smiled. The girls received his influence and were all smiles. Truly, you have self-confidence. Chai Ling muttered. Right, Chai Ling, Xinjie has a question to ask you. Wu Xinjie put down the utensils in her hands. What can this palace help you with? Chai Ling smiled. Chai Ling, you are known as the Little Whirlwind, the one positioned outside of the star duels. In Liangshan, your influence is widespread. Xinjie wishes to know, if Maiden Mountain wants to test young Lord Xiuxiu, what do you feel this trial would be, Chai Ling? Trial? Hua Wanyue wrinkled her brow. She had never heard of this matter, but seeing the faces of each of Xiuxiu's sisters turn grim, that abnormality of Maiden Mountains clearly was related to him. However, it should have been obvious. Even Hua Wanyue thought it was very abnormal to have more than 10 sisters. No wonder Lin Yingmei was so worried. Hua Wanyue was lost in thought. Chai Ling reclined on her couch, exposing a snow-white thigh from under her skirt. The noble star pondered for a while, completely unable to surmise a trial. She charmingly looked at Xiuxiu. Perhaps it will be Maiden Mountain sending down other star maidens. Other star maidens? Can there be any other star maidens? Zhang Yuqi drank soup. How could the Chai Ling outside of the star duels have known? But if star generals were born within Maiden Mountain, then it would not be strange for Maiden Mountain to dispatch star generals, perhaps the 10th, the 11th, the queen randomly guessed. Could it be previous overlords? Wu Xiu's utterance made everyone fall silent. 1,000 years have already passed, they shouldn't be so powerful, right? Zhang Yuqi nearly choked. For past 6 overlords to appear, not even the entirety of Liangshan was their opponent. Even so, should we sisters of the same mind fear her? Sure, Yuan did not concede defeat, right, Xiuxiu? And, even better if an overlord comes. I can ask them what Maiden Mountain is. Xiuxiu sneered. All of the girls smiled. Chai Ling only felt this man truly was too optimistic, but she liked that. Chai Ling, you have not heard even a bit of information. Wu Xinjie sighed. No, but this palace actually has some other information. Chai Ling put away the fan, a wave of light flowing. This palace fears you will not like to hear it. What information? The Azure Dragon Territory's 10 great sects are preparing to surround and annihilate Xinger. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.